Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I'm Lonee Appleton. I am a healthy family advocate, and this is my life as a classroom. Scratch my nose. Let the ticks begin. Anyway, how's everyone doing today? I'm doing wonderful. Today is Thursday. I gotta pull the trash cans out for the trash to be picked up tomorrow. What is your trash day in your city? It's Friday for us. I'm wearing a hat today. I'm just rambling because nobody's here yet, so this is not at all what the content is like. How are you? How are you? A friend of peace. I'm Lonee Appleton. This is my life as a classroom, and I talk about advocacy through using the experiences through my life to tell stories, pull theories, and just start conversations. And I'm advocating for the health of families. I'm advocating for the health of relationships. I'm advocating for the healing and health of parent-child relationships as you raise your children, giving different ideas and perspectives, different ways of communicating with your spouses. And if you're a parent, maybe reaching back and healing the relationship between you and your children. That's a conversation that I've had with my husband. His children are both adults. And he's like, well, they're adults. It's whatever. They're done being raised and they're fine. Hey, Big Rob. I was like, your kids aren't fine. You need to have conversations with them. And he's like, I'm not you. Thank you. Bless you as well, Big Rob. He's like, I'm not you, so I'm not going to do that. And I was like, that's fine. He was like, you just want me to be you. And I'm like, I don't want you to be me. I just want you to heal relationships. So that is what I advocate for here on this page. If that is something you're interested in and you are not already part of the community, thank you. Big Rob, CEO. Our CEO, Big Rob, I always say your name first. CEO Big Rob is a part of the community and one of my faves. Yes, it always shows up and shows love. Today's topics, I got some good ones. I got vulnerability with self and others. What are couple goals? Maintaining relationships, starting friendships, and keeping the stove warm between moments. I've been theorizing about moments in friendships, and I actually lived it yesterday. Yeah, I lived it last night. It was pretty cool. Building legacy, residual income so the next generation can add to it. Not saying what needs to be said to spare feelings, but silence is deafening. Prolonged suffering versus moments of hurt, and standing up against injustice. So those are all the topics we're going to talk about today. Well, those are all the topics that I wrote down to talk about today because I was having a conversation with a friend, and these are all the topics we talked about in our little chat. Like, I really love the relationships that I'm building now because these are the relationships I've hungered for my entire life. And when I say I hunger for, there's a side of me. Clearly, it's very much apparent here on this page, period. But there's a part of me that most people don't understand. Just the simple fact that I start a sentence here and I end it over here, that's not normal. Most people assume that I'm high. Bless you. Most people assume that I'm under the influence or something's going on with me because there's no way that a person can bounce from subject to topic and bounce around when they speak. Welcome everyone to the live. And I'm one of those people. So I really like this community because I'm allowed to be myself. I'm allowed to be authentically me. And I've always been authentic here, but I haven't always been comfortable with my authenticity. But I'm moving into a space, and these lives are really helping me be okay with the fact that the way that my brain works, I'm continuously connecting dots. So I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm going there, I'm going there, and somehow I loop back to the original point, and sometimes I don't. But when I was in that space of that point, I made a point. So I think we're so used to everybody just drawing a conclusion to everything. And I personally think that's a gift. I think it's a gift, the ability to stay focused. I cannot stay focused, but also in my inability to stay focused, that is a gift. So I'm really excited about what's going on here. I'm excited about the conversations that I'm able to have with people and the people I'm able to meet and finally align with people who understand me. Because it's a lonely world when it feels like, or it seems like, no one understands you, and it's a beautiful world when people actually understand you, you know? So that's really cool. Let's start with standing up against injustice, since that is something that is presently happening on my page. I posted a couple videos that pretty much was just saying, you know, I think that the solution, or I know that the solution is against this racism, because I always look at racism as, why is it with all the ethnicities and with all the races, because apparently ethnicity and race are different. I know that because on job applications they gave you 2 different boxes, or whenever you're filling out a government form. So with all the ethnicities and all the races out there in the world, why is it just consistently black versus white? Like, how come we ain't got no beef with nobody else? And I know that there's xenophobia or all those other things. I know that there's other things out there. But the most prevalent one that I have known in my lifetime is black versus white. Like, there's just I'm born into this gang, like Crips and Bloods. We're best friends. We're best friends, you know, growing up until we get to a certain age or a certain space in our life where, you know, in the neighborhood that we live in, you have to choose a side. Are you going to choose to be a Crip, or are you going to choose to be a Blood? And 2 people who were brothers are now sworn enemies simply because one has chosen Crip and one has chosen Blood. And now all of that bonding and building, that just shows you how superficial these relationships are. If you can align with something else that your friend does not align with, and in that new allegiance you now have a problem with your friend, that means that that relationship was superficial in the beginning. That's something to pay attention to. We're out here creating all these relationships, and I'm always cognizant with the relationships that I'm creating on here, because historically, when I create a relationship and something goes bad, then I now have a bad taste in my mouth. But with the relationships that I'm creating here, you know, it's not that things go bad, it's that things just stop. So I'm realizing that, one, this is the internet, and I have to be cognizant that this is the internet, and I really don't know you people, and you really don't know me. But in that, when we do relate to each other and we do find a moment of bonding, welcome to the live, then that connection is real. So anything beyond that connection isn't real. So for me to create a narrative outside of this connection that we made is me being delusional, and I need to be cognizant of that, because, you know, I make connections with these people, and I'm like, this is a good thing, and I'm not out here thirsty for friendship. I'm not. I'm a solo dolo. I'm good by myself, you know. And now that I have my family unit, I'm good with my family unit. I don't need nobody else. Like, that's not, when I was younger, that was coming from a fuck everybody because everybody fucked me. But now it's just coming from a space of, I'm good by myself. I freaking love being by myself, you know. And now that I have my family, I have made the adjustments within myself to be okay. Like, okay, me and my family. You know, there's a barber that Dre used to work with that used to say, fuck everybody but me. And I'm like, I understand that. Fuck everybody but me. Because if you fuck everybody but me, and of course, here's this coming from an arrogant space, but I like the idea behind it. Fuck everybody but me, because if you're worried about everybody else but yourself, then you're spending too much time away from yourself. So how are you building yourself up when you're worried about everybody else? Everybody but me. So I really like that, and I'm like, fuck everybody but my family. I'm worried about my family. I'm putting my family first. I'm investing energy in my family. And as I invest energy in my family, I encourage others to invest energy in their family. But before you can invest energy in your family, you must invest energy in yourself. Because if you are not healing, if you are not doing the work to be okay, how can you now help your family be okay and do the healing and do the work to be okay? So, standing up against injustice, happening on my page now. I posted 2 videos where I identified the solution to this racism thing that we're dealing with is white people really have to start talking to their own. And I get it, you know, you've probably, you know, had arguments, but first we need to create a space. First. Look, I really don't know if there's help from the person that is an adult, if there's children, because this evolution that's happening in my family, my now 18-year-old kicked off. So my now 18-year-old daughter kept telling me, Mom, you need to change, you need to do better. So from the mouths of babes, this evolution that we are presently in came from a child. And I finally, as the adult, clicked in. So first and foremost, the first space that we need to look at in ending racism is we need to start listening to our children. When our children are coming to us and say, Mom or Dad, that's so whack, don't talk like that. Instead of rejecting them and thinking, hey, I'm racist, how come you're not racist? You know, I should have passed that down to you. And why are you trying to tell me not to be racist? I'm the adult. How about we switch our thinking and understand that our children are here to teach us as well. We're not only here to transfer knowledge to our children, but our children are the new 2.0 version of ourselves, i.e. you replicated yourself when you birthed that child, and men birth children too. As long as your DNA is involved, you were a part of the birthing process, so please take your role as a father seriously. But, you know, from the moment you birthed that child, you replicated yourself. And when I say replicate, I said this on the live yesterday. No, you're not, or maybe a day ago. I don't remember. But anyway, a previous live is more accurate. You did not create another minion. What you did was you created, God knows, in order for you to connect with a child, there has to be some sort of, I don't know what God knows. I'm just making this up. But it makes sense. You know, there has to be some sort of connection point and some sort of familiarity, you know, familiarism. I don't know what the word is, but you understand that child. And how do you understand? Because if you actually stop and look at your kids, you could probably see you at a particular stage in your life or a particular character trait. I really can look at my kids and I can see, all right, so Bailey was me as a teenager. Angel is me, you know, and I know she is a preteen and I know she is a teenager, but the way that Bailey moves and the things that she does, she has been me, like from birth to 18, she has been me my teenage years. Angel has been me my teen years, not my teen years, my preteen, the rebellious, not listening to nobody, I know everything stage. Angel has always been me in that stage in my life. Michael is me, you know. It's funny, the ages they are presently are the ages that they have represented my life. So Michael is me that right before you go into teen energy, and then Caden is me when I was a kid. So, you know, each one of my kids represent a stage in my life. And because I know that they represent a stage in my life now, that gives me the ability to reach in and reach them because I know them. And I don't teach them, or I don't treat them like I know you because it's 2023. So they're childhood, adolescent, preteen, teenage, young adult experiences are going to be different than mine. But I know how their mind works. Why? Because their mind works somewhat like mine. Their mind works somewhat like their father's. And then their mind works how their mind works. So, you know, say the brain, your child's personality. Hey, Barbara, your child's personality or your child's brain, they all have, say, 5 aspects to their brain, right? So there's your personality traits and whatnot, whatever you passed on through your genetics. There's the fathers, or mothers, depending on your gender, you know, their personality traits and characteristics that are passed on. And then they have all of their personality traits and character traits that they got from wherever they got them because they need their own personality, right? But these 2 personality traits within your child, you should be able to recognize, and the father or mother should be able to recognize the other parent, they could be custodial parents. Anyway, I was trying to use jargon, but it didn't fall, so out of here. Anyway, because you guys recognize, and that's why the presence of both parents is important, whether you're in a relationship or not, the presence of that parent or of the family, because if the non-custodial parent, it fits in this perspective, the non-present parent, if they're not able to be present, but their family is, i.e. their mother or whoever raised them, well, now we have a situation where the parent may not be there, but the grandparent is, and the grandparent raised the parent. So now the child is able to understand themselves through the eyes of the grandparent. So it's important on all sides for connectivity on both sides of who you are, for you to fully understand who you are. But the cool thing is, if there is an absent parent, the parent that is present, the fact that they understand that they're supposed to be transferring all of this ability to understand self to them, which means you must understand yourself in order to teach your child how to understand themselves. This is the self-love journey. You know, as you learn to understand yourself, you can now teach your child how to understand themselves about the aspects that are like you. But as you transfer those skills, they can now take those exact same skills and figure out the side of them that they don't know. So for us to be stuck in, I don't know who I am because I don't know who my other parent is. The present parent needs to transfer skills. There's always going to be questions. I'm not denying that. But there's also skills that we can develop to begin to learn how to know thyself. So I'm going to just say mom because I'm a mother. Mom taught me how to know the aspects of my personality that are like hers. Now I can take those skills and move them over here and now figure out the other side, because as I work through things about what I inherited from my mother, now I can work through things that I inherited from my father. And now that I've worked through things that I've inherited from my father, now all this other stuff that is also a part of my personality, I have the skills and now I have the training because I did it here, and now I can do it independently here. And now I can get to know myself. And that is how we we develop ourselves and create a more self-aware self. I love this. My dad never acted like he understood me, like he couldn't remember how hard it was to be a kid. They don't. I act like that to my kids. Yesterday, me and Angel are writing a story together. And I was so proud. It's so crazy when you experience growth and you're so proud in your growth, and then someone comes and says you still got some growing to do. So the best thing that I have learned in this stage of my healing journey is I'm never done growing. There's always something. And so Angel and I are writing this story. When we first wrote the story, it was a punishment. I was just like, okay, I'm not going to spank you anymore. I'm not going to do all these things. I've done all those things and you're not leveling up, because at the end of the day, we need her to level up. She's stuck in the child space and she needs to come up into the teen space because she doesn't want to be treated like a child. Well, if you don't want to be treated like a child, you need to stop acting like a child. So what that means is I don't want you to start acting grown, because there's a difference. My hands are off, so my air quotes look crazy. I don't want you to start acting grown. That's not what it means to stop acting like a child. But your awareness and the way that you respond to things, it needs to level up. You know what I'm saying? You need to start gaining some sort of personal responsibility for yourself. So that's where we are. And she keeps saying, well, I'm just 11. I'm like, no. Okay, do you want me to treat you like you're 11? But then you turn around, well, Bailey, which is my 18-year-old. Well, Bailey, what rights do you want? Do you want Michael and Caden rights, which are my 6 and 4-year-old? Do you want Michael and Caden rights? Because those are kid rights. And they even have certain freedoms that they didn't have before. Or do you want Bailey rights? Do you want Bailey rights? I'm okay with giving you your freedom so that we can start navigating and raising you up, because until you have experiences for me to help carry you through, then you're stunted. You don't have the opportunity to have those experiences, because at this point, before, it was me blocking her because, you're only 11, she's heard it her whole life. That's why she's using it as an excuse. So blame myself, or do you want to start having those experiences, those freedoms where you can just say, Mom, my business is taken care of. I'm about to go hang out with so-and-so. Cool. When you coming back? How you getting there? What should you do? Just answer my questions. You don't have to ask permission at this point. You just have to tell me what you're doing. And, if you want those freedoms, you must level up. I must know that you can take those and handle those responsibilities and those freedoms. And she's not displaying that to me. Hey, Carby. And so the thing that I need to do with her is somehow get her to mentally level up, to emotionally level up, to spiritually level up. And so I came up with this idea of us writing a story together. And she was like, well, what am I going to write about? And so I told her, the other day when you were telling about these two little boys who are trying to plot on you, tell that story. How would that play out? And so she starts writing, and she was like, well, do I have to write it from my age? And I was like, no, you write it from wherever you want to. She chose to write it from a high schooler's perspective, a teenager's perspective. And so I'm like, yo, this might be the tool that universe is using to help level her up, because in order for her to write from a teenager's perspective, she must now get into the mentality of a teenager. And throughout the time that it takes to write this story, in her consistently putting herself in the mind frame of a teenager, she may actually pull herself out of this child mentality and push herself up. Isn't it fucking brilliant? And pull herself up into this teen space. Now, typical mom, and my friend had to check me because we started writing the book, and this wasn't even writing the book together. Actually, it developed. Initially, it was, she needs to write the book. But I've been wanting to write a book. But the problem that I have with writing a book is I can't stick to it. To keep going, I could write a chapter and then I'm just like, And so I was like, I want to write. I have a whole thing on my wall of a book that I'm supposed to be writing that I just can't get into, especially since when I wrote those sticky notes, my ideology was here. And I look at that stuff and I was like, I don't even see life the same way I do 3 months ago. So it's hard to write that book because that book is on evolutionary change and I'm constantly evolving. So it's hard to, put a pin in what stage in evolution I want to write from. But I want to write. I love writing. I actually have written 2 books. What's the Best That Can Happen is my spiritual evolution. So how I came into the space of self-love and stopped self-sabotaging. And pretty much who I am today started here. So it's autobiographical as well as some tips and tricks to help you do the work, the exact same work I did. I just document it. So what I'm doing in these videos where I'm telling you, oh yeah, well I did this, y'all. I did it here. And then the Domino series. This is available at LoneeTaylorArt.com or Amazon. You just have to make sure that the seller is Lonee Taylor. The second book that I wrote, which is actually the first book that I wrote, this was the second one, but this is the second book I'm showing you. This one is the Domino series. This is fictitious. It is on the Zane vibe, so erotic fiction, I guess. I don't know. But it also has a message to it. But if you like a little, little play in your books, this is a good book. The Domino series, this is available at buybooksontheweb.com. It's really good, but I self-edited all of these books, so, grammar if you please. It's at your own risk, It's doing what it's doing, but it's an amazing story. But yeah, I love writing, and I've been wanting to write another book. So when she started writing, and I started reading what she wrote to me, and I was like, this is so weak. And I was like, you're thinking from the wrong lens. But I'm also a teacher. Those of you who don't know, I have my master's in education. I've been in the classroom. So whenever I am looking and reading and critiquing something, I'm critiquing it from a mother perspective, but I'm also critiquing it from a teacher perspective. So I'm looking at all the ways that she can improve. And I was just like, I'm just going to rewrite this for her and show her how it's supposed to be done. But I'm like, well, who am I to tell her how it's supposed to be done? I want to encourage her and, hey, I am misstepping and fucking this off the entire way because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to figure out. So can I get a gold star for trying to figure this shit out, right? And so I'm like, well, no, I'm just going to write it with her because I told her if every time you don't make any efforts, this is the process. Anytime you don't, and I kept self-correcting and self-checking, which is what I'm trying to teach my children. Check yourselves. Correct yourselves. If you know you make a misstep, correct that misstep. Don't sit in that just because, well, this is what I did. And you stand on, like we stand firm on some bullshit simply because we did some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But if we self-correct ourselves, I will be mid-sentence and I will be like, nope, that's wrong. And I will correct it. Or if somebody comes to me and they give me some more information, like the person I was talking to with dealing with Angel, I was like, damn, I need to have another conversation with Angel because you just gave me new information and opened my eyes up another way. So always self-correcting, always self-checking. So I was like, look, every time you give me some bullshit, I'm going to rewrite it. And either you're submitting a chapter or a page to me, or you're submitting an outline to me. If you are submitting an outline to me, you're saying, okay, mom, rewrite this with this outline. That's how skeletal her writing was. And then I was like, well, no, because that's going to, and this is all happening like in split seconds in my head. I was like, no, because that's going to build resentment. I want her to develop her love for writing. I want this to be a bonding moment between us, because now I'm writing with her. Initially, it was just her by herself, but now I have come up with this can be a bonding moment between us, because Angel looks at me and Bailey are always kikiing together and laughing and doing things together. You know, she's my best friend. And so I know Angel sits and watches us and she's just silent. And I'm like, Angel, you could join the conversation anytime you want to. But she's always in this space of in the background lurking, you know, like, because in the past, when she tried to join into the conversations, Bailey's like, this conversation doesn't include you. And I was like, leave that girl alone and let her join the conversation. You know, so Bailey was very possessive of our time together, but Bailey always has my damn time. So you can't tell your brothers and sisters they need to get lost when you're occupying hours of my time. I got to be mom to everybody. I got to be friend to everybody. And so now we're trying to get Angel out of the space of where she's shrinking herself. And, you know, when we're talking to her, like when we have these family meetings, welcome to the live, everybody. I'm Lonee Appleton, and this is my life as a classroom. You know, whenever we're having family discussions and family meetings, Angel making herself small and turning into this little voice and, you know, being that person. I'm like, Angel, you're getting in trouble, or you being redirected. It's not you getting in trouble anymore. My kids, for me now, I do pop off. I do. Every once in a while, I'm just like, y'all, this is stupid. You know, but otherwise, my kids no longer get in trouble from me. They just get redirected, you know. And as I am improving my presence in my children's lives, i.e., get up and walk the house and see what's going on. I don't walk the house. I do now, but it started this week because I'm constantly checking myself and correcting myself because I want to be the best version of myself I can be. I don't want to leave my children out there. And I see how many different ways, even though I'm an amazing parent, by no way am I saying I'm not a good parent. But I know how many ways I have left my children out there, and I don't want to do that anymore. And I almost left Angel out there last night when she rewrote my stuff, y'all. I was hot. Anyway, so get up and walk the house and redirect and correct. And by redirecting and correcting your children, now you are teaching them to be self-motivated. You are teaching, and this is an assumption. I've only been doing this for a week, but my kids have been able to keep their room clean because I'm constantly, hey, Kaden, pick this up, put it back where it goes, you know. And as I do that, it's shifting them from just leaving things a mess, just dropping stuff where it is, you know, put it back. So ultimately, I'm working towards just keep your space clean. But I have to start at the ground level because I've left my kids out there. And we leave our kids out there by doing things for them. I have left my kids out there because I was just like, look, that's your room. I'll come over there and, you know, raise a big stink and have you clean it up. And that's it. There's some parents who will go into their kid's room and clean everything up for them. How is your cleaning everything up for your kid? How is you cooking for your kid? How is you not assigning any tasks or chores around the house to your kid, teaching them how to do these things? Because this is their classroom. They will be adults one day. When are they going to learn? You know, so we have to realize the different ways that we stifle our children or we cripple our children, and we do not transfer skills necessary for them to be successful as adults. So anyway, I wanted us writing this book to be a bonding moment between us. So we can sit and we could talk about it and laugh and to figure out what's going on with this story. But I think because I introduced this as a punishment, and now it's just, you know, this is just your requirement. This is your daily requirement for you to write me a page. Well, not even a page. Write me something. If you write a line, then that's your contribution to this book that we're writing. If you write a page, then that's your contribution to, but you must, excuse me. I don't know why I started burping when I guess because I'm taking in so much air and oxygen. Anyway, you know, the whole premise is I want you to get to know yourself. write this character from your perspective. Now, your perspective means you must now get to know what your perspective is, because ultimately, not only do I want to grow Angel up and pull her out of this child stage, but I also want her to get to know herself, which means you have to sit and think and be with yourself. And these are all things that make her uncomfortable. And I was like, yeah, they used to make me uncomfortable too, but I did the work and I healed myself. And I want you to do the work, and I want you to heal yourself. And so the sooner, the better. Bailey, she went on her spiritual journey. I never taught my children about God. I taught them to get to know their higher selves and to understand who God is for themselves. The reason why I did not it wasn't that I didn't teach my children about God. I did not introduce my children to religion. And the reason why I did not introduce my children to religion was because religion messed me up. And so Bailey found God for herself, and she developed her own spiritual practices, and she developed all the things and evolutionary practices that she has. So in doing that for herself, she became aware of change and how she can grow and evolve. So for Bailey to grow and evolve, it's natural for her because she accepted it for herself. Now with Angel, I'm asking her, and Dre, my husband, same thing, my husband's 49 years old, so he has been under the illusion that he's not evolving and changing and becoming a new person. He's like, I'm me, I've been me. No, you're evolving and changing, but you're holding on to the same philosophies. Aggravated when you have to constantly repeat yourself. Okay, let me finish this sentence. So he's stuck. He's fought change, but we got him. And then with Angel, she's not open to evolving and changing. She feels that my asking her to evolve and change is me forcing her to do something. So she's fighting me. Now the idea with Michael and Caden is to raise them in a space where they're taught life is evolution and change. Like, you should be changing and becoming a new person every second of your life. You should constantly be leveling up. And so if I instill that in them at 6 and 4, Michael's a little resistant. Caden is trying to be his brother. So if I could break through to Michael, then I could break through to Caden easier, because Caden's going to emulate Michael. But Angel is in resistance, and so I have to try to figure a way to break through to her. Now, how do I handle not getting frustrated when and I appreciate you asking the question. I did get frustrated. My husband always gets frustrated. Why do I got to repeat myself to a child? Because up until this point, we ruled over them. We dominated over them. It was a dictatorship. So my way or the belt, my way or the beratement. You know what I'm saying? So we raised our children in a space of fear of us. And because they feared us, they feared the consequence, they listened. And even in then, they only kind of listened. Bailey was the only one, because I was highly abusive with Bailey. Now, I wasn't called, you might have called CPS on me, but, I wasn't called CPS. I'm putting a cigarette out on my kid type abusive, but I was very heavy handed and very, me and the belt, I was granddad with the belt, hey, Coco. And so Bailey is the only one who has the spirit of excellence. And, I say something the first time and she gets it done. Thank you for the love. But Angel wasn't raised that way. Michael wasn't raised that way. Caden wasn't raised that way. So I have to consistently repeat myself. But I know I have to repeat myself because they were raised because they were under my thumb. They listened because of punishment. Now I have to figure out, how do I get them to listen because they respect my word? Because they have now internalized it in their head to where, okay, mom asked me to do something. The way that she explained it to me, because I have to explain everything to my kids, the way that she explained it to me, it makes sense. So I don't get frustrated all the time. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. Thank you all for the love. When you like the lives, or if I say something that, feeds your spirit, throw me some hearts. That tells TikTok to push the content out there. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So if I get frustrated with my kids because I have to repeat myself, it would be being frustrated with myself because I never took the time to teach them the why. Dre is under the impression, which is my husband, I shouldn't have to explain myself to a child, but you do have to explain to a child. They have to understand the why, because it is in the why that they internalize why they're doing something. I will make my bed. Why? Because if I don't, my dad's going to beat my ass. That's why I made my bed, not my kids, me. That's why I made my bed. That means I never learned the value of making my bed. I never learned the value of, I still don't know the value of making your bed. I just make my bed, and sometimes it makes me feel better to have a made bed, but I'm inconsistent. Why? Because the only reason why I made my bed as a child was because there was punishment on the other end of not making my bed. My dad never gave me a why, and he probably didn't know why either. He makes his bed because military, So you have to explain to your children why you want the things that you want. And right now we're about to see me having to continuously repeat myself.
Why have it on your bed?
Because I'm working from my bed today. Let go of my camera.
You let open your camera with ball?
Yes, because you keep moving my bed, my camera's gonna fall over. Okay.
And it went over here.
I don't want my phone to fall over there. Will you go and shut my door, please? Give me my towel. You don't have to be extra. Just go exit stage left. It's okay.
I just need you one more. It will one on my lip.
Okay, well, I'm happy I was able to help you. Shut my door, please. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, dear.
Oh
my God. Bye, dear.
Bye, Odie.
Bye.
Bye, Odie.
Bye, Kaden. Shut my door, please.
Bye, Odie.
So you have to learn how to manipulate your children. Boom. There it goes. It's all about manipulation. I know that Kaden needs to be seen. I know that Kaden needs to feel like he's doing it on his own. And so I can't tell Kaden to leave. If I try to bully Kaden up out of my room, I'm going to be fighting him. And that's where the frustration is, because I'm trying to have control and I feel like I'm not having control. And now I'm battling wills with a child. So what helps me not get frustrated is, yes, explaining the why. Secondly, release control to gain control. In order to control him, I know that I have to make him think that he's in charge. And I learned that when he was in speech therapy, because his speech therapist used to be like, giving him options and all these different things and making him think that he was in control. And no, you don't get to do that until you do this. So she was manipulating him. And I was just like, this is fucking brilliant. This is how you control your kids. You manipulate them. This is how you control everything. Life is just a bunch of manipulation. I'm just be honest. But we use different pretty words, but we're all just manipulating each other. You got something that I want. You asked me a question. And so in order for me to answer that question or to keep you engaged, I must answer your question. So now we are manipulating each other. Everything is a form of manipulation. If we understand that manipulation doesn't have to be a negative thing, then we can learn how to work with each other, because we're really just trying to get what we want from people. But in order to get something from what we want, we must give. True selfishness is selflessness. T-shirt available at LoneeTaylorArt.com. Thank you for the love. But I figured out how to work with him. I figured out how to work with Bailey. I'm figuring out how to work with Angel. I need to figure out how to work with Michael. And I figured out, Kaden, you have to let him do a little bit of what he wants. And you got to, I acknowledge you. I recognize you. Okay, can you get out my room? And then he's going to do something else about what he wants. You're like, I recognize you. I see you. And then he's got to get a little bit further out the room. And you have to constantly, repeat yourself. So release control. He's not being defiant. He's not. He's being a 4-year-old. And I can choose to get aggravated and annoyed, and then the energy changes, right? Because what just happened between me and my kid was a moment. That was a moment. That was a moment that he can now file in his Rolodex of memories and be like, you know, my mom was always patient with me. My mom was da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, she snapped off, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, this was something that didn't get messed up for him, you know. And then also, it's a good memory for me. He could have took me off my square. Like yesterday, he took me, well, I don't know if he took me off my square, but there was a variables of things that took me off of my square. So my energy was off with him, and then I couldn't come back and reconnect here. So my energy was off. So you just have to protect your peace. You have to learn how to work with your kids. And, you know, I understand that my kids aren't going to jump when I say jump. Why? Because I don't jump when anybody says jump. And all children are baby humans. All they are. All he is a baby human. He's not a child. He's a baby human. He's a baby adult. And I know I don't jump when someone says jump. If somebody's like, hey, cook dinner, I'm like, okay, give me 5 minutes and I'll do it. So I allow my kids to say, hey, all right, give me 5 minutes and I'll do it. Now, if they don't do it in that 5 minutes and I've given you 10 minutes and I'm like, okay, you didn't do what I asked you to do. So now I get to turn up, right? I get to elevate, right? Because you're not listening. I did it the way that you wanted to do it. I also have conversations with my kids and I say, hey, what do you need to be compliant? What do you need in order to do what I asked you to do? And they tell me and I do it. Now, if I do what you told me to do and you don't do it, then we get to do it my way, right? But my way has to be a way that does not drop my vibration, because my entire goal in life is to go through life high vibrational. Let me read the comments. I hope I answered some. I gave you a couple of ideas. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making this shit up as I go. Like I said, I was talking to a friend. Sorry, I cuss. I was talking to a friend, and I have a theory that friendship is just a series of moments, from moment to moment to moment to moment. And what do you do in between those moments? I experienced that, and I was like, oh, they are moments to moments. And what do you do in the meantime? But that's another topic. Yo, stop opening my door. I don't think it's cute, and I don't think it's funny. Shut my door. Thank you. And then you just ignore him. He'll go away if I ignore him. Like, he's going to keep saying bye, poopy mom, because he wants attention, but he realized I'm not going to pay him any attention back, so he actually does what I want him to do. You're on the wrong side of the door. You need to be on the other side of the door, sir. Thank you. Some people say making the bed helps with, I guess, the end of the day being able to get into it. It might, you know, he's going to say bye, poopy mom, but then he's going to shut the door. So ignoring helps too. Repeat yourself however many times and then say, look, I said what I said, you gone. And go about your business. And when I start ignoring him, he goes away. I love providing reasons why so they understand. But when they say okay and then continue to do the same thing, it's hard for me not to take it personal. I'm working on the disrespect is a huge trigger for me. Okay. Now, are you having conversations with them? Because what we perceive as disrespect, is it disrespect in their head? Because I had this conversation with Angel. I'm yelling at her, or I'm not yelling at her, but I'm talking to her about, yo, the kitchen's supposed to be done in a certain amount of time, and you're still 2 hours later in this kitchen. And then because I'm talking to her, the way that we were raised, respect is you stop what you're doing, you stand, you know, at attention, and you look them in the eye. That's respect. Well, she's still cleaning the kitchen while I'm talking. Thank you for the love. Thank you, guys. She's still cleaning the kitchen while I'm talking. And I'm like, you're being disrespectful as fuck. I'm sitting here talking to you and you cleaning out the crisper. She's like, because you want me to get the kitchen clean. So she was able to advocate for herself. She was able to speak up for herself and tell me, yo, so give your children a voice so that I don't know what's going on in your house. I'm just speaking from what happened and how I have learned. Allow your children to know that they can. It's not talking back. Talking back is psh, whatever. That's talking back. Saying, Mom, you told me to clean this kitchen, and now that I'm cleaning the kitchen, you want me to stop cleaning the kitchen because you're talking. That's just responding. That's not talking back. But we historically have, like, a child needs to stand there and shut up and take it. No. They should be able to have a voice, because now they're learning how to communicate. And they're not only learning how to communicate, but they're learning how to communicate in a challenging situation, right? You know, instead of getting mad and shutting down, they're actually able to communicate in these adverse situations because they did it with you. You know what I'm saying? I never thought about if I was heard. I feel like I just did what I was told. Yeah, we all did what we were told, but our kids need to be heard, because if we hear our children, then we can redirect them. So are they truly responding to you in disrespect? Or are they just doing what they think they're doing? Angel fidgets like it's getting crazy. But it's like over exaggerated. I have to move all the time too. That's why I'm always scratching my nose or always scratching my head. I have tics, you know, so I understand tics. But I always said, stop fidgeting, stop fidgeting, stop fidgeting, you know. Until one day she said, it physically hurts to stand still. I have to hold up, gotta get my hearts on, gotta get my flowers on, boom, thank you, I appreciate you with the flower gang. You know, she's like, it physically hurts to stand still. And because she said it physically hurts her to stand still, I finally understood her. So all these years, I've been getting frustrated with her and yelling at her about fidgeting. I really want this drink of water, that's why I was holding my cup. Available at LoneeTaylorArt.com. You know, I've been yelling at her for fidgeting, but when she said I can't stand still, I was like, damn, I can't sit still either. I'm always moving. So I get it. And she finally found the voice to be able to say that to me. 11 years, however many years she's been yelled at about that, she finally found the voice to advocate for herself. But in that, now I understand her moving and doing all this stuff isn't her being disrespectful. This is her having some need to move. So now it is my job to teach her how to move without being a distraction. So I would say ask your kids if they believe that they're being disrespectful. And if they say no, we do not respond like, well, you are. No, we say, okay, well, help me understand by doing this action, i.e. not listening the first time or whatever, you know, what is this? And they're going to explain to you what it is. And when they explain to you what it is, now you don't have to respond immediately. We think that we have to have solutions on the spot. There are plenty of times where I'm like, let me put a pin in that and I'm going to come back to that. So be okay with coming back to it. People are like, oh, you're thinking of an excuse. No, I'm just trying to have a response for you. Thank you so much, Christine. I'm just trying to have a response for you. And please vibe out in the comments, meet good people in the comments. That's how we build relationships. That's how we build bonds, you know. So I remember asking my 14-year-old Derek, who passed away, my stepson. We used to sit, I kind of had an idea back in the day. And I was like, dude, what do I got to do to get you to fucking listen to me? He's like, you just got to give me a couple minutes. And I was like, okay, what's a couple minutes? He's like, about 15 minutes. I was like, cool. So I know when I come to you and I ask you to do something, I could give you 15 minutes. Now me, I'm still trying to be in control. So I got my timer. I'm like, hey, Surrey, set a 15-minute timer. I hope Surrey don't say that one. Okay, Surrey didn't listen. You know, Surrey, set a 15-minute timer, because I'm like anal as fuck. I'm looking at my timer like 5, 4, 3, 2, Derek! You know, so even though I'm letting him move in a way that's conducive with what's comfortable for him, I'm still controlling that, you know. So I remember asking them. Also, Derek and Bailey of their generation. Bailey is now 18, so Derek would be 18 as well. You know, they both told me, you don't just get respect. You must earn respect. You don't just get respect because you're an adult. And, you know, we grew up in a space where, you know, adults get respect. You know, no. I now have shifted to the space. No, respect is earned. Also, if you're telling your children to respect people simply because of the fact that they're older than them or they're adults, now you are setting your child up to be taken advantage of by someone who is older, who is an adult. Case in point, Michael came in here today and he said someone older, not today, the other day, it said someone older did something. And I was like, well, why did you let them do that? Because they were an adult. No. You don't let anyone mistreat you simply because they're older than you. You don't let anyone mistreat you simply because they're an adult. Adults are stupid. And I learned that in high school because I used to look at my teachers and I respected my teachers so much because they held the title of a teacher. I would look at police officers and I respected them so much because they wore a uniform and they were a police officer. I would look at all these people in authority and think that they have some sort of authority. But I sat in my classroom and I looked at my teacher and I was like, you're a fucking dummy. How are you a teacher? People probably used to ask that because I can't spell worth shit. They're like, you can't spell, how are you a teacher? People used to really ask me, you can't spell, how are you a teacher? Because being an educator has nothing to do with your ability to spell, dumbass. But anyway, that's not the point that I'm making. What the point is, both of my then 14-year-olds told me respect is earned, it's not given. And I argued them down. But now that I finally had my awakening, I was like, that makes perfect sense. I do not want my children to respect me because of my position. I want my children to respect me because I earned their respect. And by earning your children respect, this is important. By earning your children respect means that you got down on your child's level. You found out what respect is, respect earnability is to them, and you complied. This is teaching your children how to have standards or how to set their standards because you were the first person that they said, these are my handle with care instructions, or these are my standard of care instructions. And you said, okay, I could do this, 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 and this, but in order, I need to have this, this, and this, and this. And they're like, okay, I could do this, this, and this, and this. So now you're working together to work together. And they set their standards up and they were like, this is what I need to be okay in this home. And you're like, okay, that's easy work. Give you 15 minutes before but after that 15 minutes, I may even give you 20. If you have not done what I asked, now I get to come in and move this way. And they're like, okay. And they agree. So now when you're divvying out the corrective actions, I don't want to say punishment anymore, but you're divvying out the corrective actions, they understand. They're like, all right, shoot. Bailey got to the point where she would do something that whatever she wanted to, come home and just drop her phone off and be like, she had a burner phone, but I didn't know about it. But she would just come in and be like, get into her punishment. She was like, I did what I want. I weighed the punishment over the joy of doing what I wanted to. I decided that the punishment, I'll take that because I'm going to do what I want to. So is it disrespect? Because we do the same thing. We need to go to work. Every day we need to show up somewhere. Either it's at a job, we got to show up for our spouse. We got to show up somewhere every day. I hope I answered your question. And in that showing up, we have to decide, is this something I'm going to show up for? Well, let's weigh. Let's do the scales. If I do or I don't show up, what does that look like? And if not showing up looks better than do showing up and not showing up feels better, you'll suffer the consequences. That's not disrespect. That's you just honoring yourself. I need a self-care day. Our kids should be allowed to have that. My husband does not agree. You're giving these kids choices. Well, if I want my children to learn how to make choices for themselves, I must provide an environment for them to start making choices. And then if they make the wrong choice, the consequences that they suffer also have to be realistic. Not doing the dishes is not a 2-week punishment situation. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because if I fail to do something as an adult, I'm not punished or I don't suffer consequences for 2 weeks. I suffer the immediate consequences for my choice. And then I move on. So how can I incorporate that with my kids? Because I want my kids to understand realistic consequences for their choices. So how can I simulate real world as much as I can in the home? Because the way that we're raising our kids now is not real world simulation. They are not ready at all when they enter the world. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they lose their fucking mind when they hit them streets. Why? Because we put their asses under our thumbs and didn't give them no wiggle room. And then when they got into these streets, they were like, whoa, buck wild. And they sure as hell didn't come back to your ass to ask you for no help. Why? Because you didn't help them when I was in the house. Why the hell are you going to help me now? And they were like, well, you can ask me anything. No, I didn't ask you nothing then. And when I did try to talk back, you told me to shut up. I'm not going to come talk to you now. So all of these are the reasons why you have to put your children on equal ground as soon as possible. And I didn't understand that. And so now I'm walking it back with Angel, trying to work with Michael, and I think Caden will be pretty good. I think Caden's going to be easy. It's from Madagascar, and we have many different cultures. Yep. Yeah. If your husband has a teachable spirit, you might be okay. You might be okay. And the problem is when two people are like this, but they're able to talk to each other and communicate, then you can eventually come here. But if one can talk and communicate and evolve, but the other one's like, nah, my way or the highway, you're going to constantly be like this. You know what I'm saying? You're going to constantly be like this. And it's either you figure out or you have to yield to them and deny everything that you believe to be real just so you can satisfy them and not hear their mouth, But why should their happiness be in your compliance? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying anything. I'm just speaking generally. I have been blessed to have my husband. He is definitely, why do I need to change? But he's on the slow, coming around, so you have to identify, do you have a spouse? Yes, my finger's messed up. That's why I can't do my fingers right. You have to determine by observation, do I have my way or the highway? I'm not changing. I've been this person and, definitely cultural backgrounds, all of that. And how do you function within that? How do you raise your children? Because it really used to be, I used to raise such a divisive house. Dre used to say what he had to say. And then later on, I talked to my kids and I'm like, yeah, whatever. This is what you gonna do. And I thought that was okay. I didn't know that I was creating resentment towards Dre by going behind and say, yeah, I know he said that, but this is what's good. You know what I'm saying? Because historically, Dre would teach from, or he would raise from how he was raised. And we all know how we raise ourselves or how we were raised. We all know how we were raised on a majority was not how it should be. But we replicate it because that's how it's always been done. And so Dre would raise our children and give them information based on how he was raised, not off of logic. We weren't raised off of logic. We were raised off of reactionary BS. You know what I'm saying? And so he would say the reactionary BS, and then later on, I would have a logical conversation with my kids. And that's how a lot of houses are raised, a house divided. But if a house is divided, it'll fall. It'll fall because everybody's having fake relationships. Everybody's okay to be okay. But no one's okay. And it's not okay, like Coco said, that's chaos. It's not okay for me to go behind my partner's back and contradict them. And that's work that I had to do. I had to say, I'm going to stop contradicting my spouse. And sometimes overcoming that resistance, just like Caden, is I'm going to allow you to have your way. And some people are just resistant, and goddamn Coco. I love her, but she get on my nerves because she's always right. You're getting that resistance, even from adults, because it's learned from childhood. You're getting that resistance because you're trying to force them into a space. You're trying to force them into a corner. And they're also trying to force you into a corner. But sometimes when you yield, they yield. You know what I'm saying? So it may not be that your children are being disrespectful. It may be your children are being, they're expressing, type what you said, Coco, they're expressive, their assertiveness. They're advocating for themselves, but the conditions of which they are advocating for themselves, because they're a child and the way that they're doing it, it appears to be defiance. And so learning to express themselves assertively, yes. So is it truly disrespect? Or are the kids learning to express themselves assertively, especially when I'm telling Angel, use your voice, advocate for yourself, speak up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling Angel this. And maybe these are just little blurps of her showing her assertiveness, and Coco had to, I hope you don't mind me saying that this is where I got this from. Coco had to point that out to me because I was complaining to Coco. I was just like, man, and I'm going to jump forward with the angel story. She overwrote what I wrote and it pissed me off. Like, we agreed we're no longer overriding each other's work. She's going to write from her perspective. I'm going to write from my perspective, and it's going to be what it is. And I looked at her yesterday and I was so proud of her because she came home from school and she sat down and she started writing. And I was like, hey, she's starting to get into the flow. I'm not doing this.
I just want a hug.
You want to give me a hug? Okay, I'll give you a hug. I know, you're trying to get into the camera. Look, see? You're in the camera. The people want to see you. All right, now go. You got to give them what you want. Give them what they want. If it's not hurting you to give them what they want, give them what they want.
Why I keep messing down like that?
I don't even know what you just said, but this is my shirt. It's Nickelodeon. It's all the TV shows I grew up on. Now go.
I mean, Mr. Dab.
Oh, you see Mr. Krabs?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What?
I don't know why he's on there. I don't even think that's Plantain. That's not Mr. Krabs. Anyway, out. And I definitely throw the respecting. Hey, show mommy some respect, okay? Mommy's trying to work. Thank you for not being distracting in the background. Thank him. Thank him for doing what you want. So yeah, you know, Angel wasn't being a jerk. She wasn't like, Q, I'm going to rewrite your stuff and I'm going to let you know how it feels, even though that's the way I received it. But I always say, I say a lot of stuff, but I don't live it. And I love you guys because you always throw me back at me. And because you throw me back at me, I check myself because I forget. You know, I'm looking to get offended. And I'm telling you, when you want to piss me off, rewrite something I wrote. That's a trigger for me. And so when she rewrote my writing, I was just like, you know, and I didn't explode. So I was proud of myself, even though it was pointed out to me that there's a different way I could have handled that. I was proud of myself because I would have lost my in the past. But this time I just was like, why would you rewrite my stuff? Like, that doesn't even make sense because I'm developing my characters. My character questioned why they were friends with a particular individual who does not even seem like someone they should be friends with. Well, I answered the question in the part that you rewrote. Also, I was doing a nod to one of my friends and there's something that they do. And I was like, well, I'm going to write this into the character. So you just deleted my shout out to somebody. You didn't even ask me what you were doing. You just did it. And that pisses me off. So I'm not even going to write today. I'm going to go to my room. And she's sitting there with a little smug look on her face. But I don't know if the smug look is defiance. Like, yeah, bitch, I got you. Or is the smug look, you know, just her look. I don't know. But in the past, I'm like, what the hell are you looking like that for? Are you pleased with yourself? You know, I'm just assuming and telling her how she feels. But I just went in my room and I ate my yogurt and I was just like, that pissed me off. But I was proud of myself because in the past, I would have ripped into her. And so I did level up. But Coco brought to my attention that how do you know she's not trying her best? How do you know she didn't think out and plan out her characters? How do you know she's not developing her characters? How do you know? Just because she's not doing it how you want her to do it? So you were taking away and you were actually beating down on her and telling her she's not good enough. You're telling her she's not good enough. She could have been trying. And all you're saying is, yeah, this isn't good enough. So how are you encouraging her to continue to try her best by telling her what could be her best isn't good enough? So now I have to go and regroup and have a conversation with Angel and apologize because I am definitely not above apologizing to my children. Now I have to go to Angel and apologize and be like, you know, I won't say I overreacted, but I didn't react to yesterday all inclusively, which means there's other things we should have had a conversation. And then I could have gotten all the information from her and then I can react from that space. And I just reacted from reactionary brain and, you know, it pissed me off, even though it wasn't as aggressive as it is in the past. Thank you guys for having a conversation in the comments. It's a blessing. It's a blessing when you guys are talking to yourselves, or not to yourselves. You're talking to each other answering each other's questions, because the individuals that are in here right now are wise. This is my circle. These ladies are my circle. And gentlemen, I'm not sure if anyone are, but this, you get it, good advice. Were you heard as a kid? Was I heard as a kid? I definitely was not heard as a kid. I did not have a voice. I was told a child stays in its place. And if I did open my mouth, I got beat. You know, I was definitely never heard. And then I didn't have a stable home environment. So a child's able to speak, especially of hypocrisies within their home, because they have a stable home and they know how it runs. I never was in a home long enough to know how it functioned. And in that knowing how it functioned, even if it was hypocritical, boom, I just remembered I was living with my dad's girlfriend's father. Yeah, I was living with my dad's girlfriend's father. And I lived with him so long, I completed the entire 7th grade with him. Before my dad just dropped me off. I was like, I'll be right back. Nigga didn't come back for a whole year. Yeah, that was my childhood. Anyway, so I was living with him, and I remember he had some company over, and I was forced to sit and watch TV. Like, I couldn't go sit in my room. You ain't gonna sit in your room all day. Oh, but me sitting up in front of the TV is beneficial to me. Me sitting in my room and staring at the wall is counterproductive. But me sitting and watching this brain dead ass TV, even as a kid, I never valued watching TV. Now, I love watching me some K-dramas, but I've never valued watching TV. And my cousin used to always make fun of me because I would always say, I don't like sitting and watching TV because they're writers and I'm a writer. And so to sit and watch TV, I'm sitting watching someone who realized their dream while I'm wasting my time watching people who realize their dream. I should be working towards my dream of being a writer versus watching people who have already achieved their dream. So I've never valued watching TV because I should be working on me. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I remember I was up there watching TV and I was bored and I just had a pen and I was, poking at my face and, just doing distracting behaviors. Oh my God, Angel is me. You know what I'm saying? I remember I got in so much trouble. I may have gotten beat. Because I was sitting there and I was just poking my face with a pen, because I'm not watching this stupid ass Western. You know what old black people used to watch back in the day. I'm not watching the goddamn soaps. I'm sitting here, occupying myself by poking myself in the face. Man, Angel is me. Somebody said earlier in the conversation, their parents, let me go get your name, sis. It's Carrie. All right, Carrie, I got you for now on. Carrie said, our parents forget that they were children. I forgot that I was a child, and I forgot that I actually got in trouble for what Angel does. Thank you for that. But no, nobody heard me as a kid. But you want the dishes clean. Laugh aloud for a second. Dishes, trigger, let me work on that. See? We all got our triggers. I never thought about it if I was heard. I feel like I just did what I was told. I'm not sure how old you are, Carrie, and if you're still there, but I think in our generation, we just all did what we were told. We just all did what we were told. And my kids were expected to do what they were told, up until recently. And now it's like, okay, how do we work together? That may be why you feel offended when your kid isn't listening, because in a way you weren't heard. Yep, it's definitely bumping up against whatever is going on from what you're carrying from the childhood and just what we view as disrespect based off of historical. Now I get it. I can't let my kids think that doing things while somebody else is talking is socially acceptable. So there's a difference between social acceptable behavior and being okay to develop and become yourself within your home. So yes, Angel, I understand the hypocrisy of get the kitchen clean, stop and listen to me and be respectful. I understand that's contradictory. I get it. But you also need to know when you are not in this home, what is socially acceptable behavior and received as respect. So that's why you act one way in your home, but you also give your kids the armor to survive out there. And what I did was the armor that my kids need to survive out there, I instilled in the behaviors in my home. And that's where I erred. You don't need to act how you act out here, in here. I need to give you all the power. I need you to be assertive. I need you to be able to speak up for yourself. But I also got to give you the spirit of discernment. And there's times when you need to comply. And there's times when you need to pull up on somebody and be like, yeah, hell no. There's these little kids that are messing with Michael at school. And it's always the first week of school. These kids be fucking with my kids. And man, if I had a car, I would be up there more than I am now. Now I'm a text message and an email. But if I had a car, my ass would be up there in the front office like, you need to check these little motherfuckers. And if he come home one more time with a story, I'm going to walk my ass over to that school. But these kids were messing with him. And I was like, are they chasing you because you're playing, or are they chasing you because you're running away from them? He was like, I'm running away from them. I was like, stop running away. And you need to turn around and you need to stand your ground and you need to say, leave me alone. I am not playing. I don't think this funny. This is funny. Leave me alone. And if they don't listen, then you go get an adult. And if the adult doesn't listen, you tell them to call your mother, and I'm going to pull up on them motherfuckers. And they going to know about me. And the founder, I got his number in my phone. We went from being enemies to buddies. We're best friends. I'm invited to the cookout now. But I had to check him, but he handled me with such amazing, the way that, like when someone handles me, when I pull up and they handle me, they earn my respect. You know what I'm saying? Because I pulled up on that man and he navigated my ass. I was like, damn, you know how to work people. That's a skill. Because I came in there on 10 and he brought me all the way down. He may be one of the people who taught me how to get people put together eloquently. Because Michelle Obama says when they go low, we go high. Bump that, right? But I figured out what she means. This may not be what she means. This is the Loneeism. When they vibrate low, we vibrate high. Vibrating means I could still get your ass put together. That just means I'm not going to seek lower vibrational means as a way to get you put together. I'm going to get you put together in a way that you delete your comment, Melissa. I'm going to get you put together in a way that you tuck your tail and you run and you apologize. And I didn't drop my vibration. I didn't call you one cuss word. I didn't do any of those things. So when they vibrate low, you bitch, you stupid, and they saying all that dumb stuff like, you don't know me. And if you disagree with me, why does your disagreement manifest like this? This is stupid. But I'm the stupid one? Okay. You know, boop. Why does your disagreement manifest like this? This doesn't seem like a wise way to respond to someone. I think there's a better way that you can respond to adversity than insulting someone. Just because we don't think the same doesn't mean that I'm any less of a human. I have any less value than you do. So hopefully in the future, when you disagree with someone, you know how to respond with respect. When they vibrate low, I vibrate high, but I'm still get your ass put together. So I told Michael, I was like, you can stop and be assertive, but there's other times, you know, you got to figure out how to navigate life, time and place, right? That may be why you feel offended. Like in my head, when I became an adult, I would be heard, but kids are trying to figure out what we want. Yeah, they don't know what we want, and we know what we want, but then we get mad at our kids for not understanding, and they're not allowed to ask for clarification some of the times. You know, they're not like, I don't understand. So then they go and do what they believe we're asking for, and then when they're doing what we believe, we get mad at them because they're not doing what we're asking for. And we're like, why didn't you ask more questions? Because in the past, when I asked more questions, I got in trouble. So I just tried to guess what you wanted me to do. Sorry. Dry lips. To know why, well, I'm not a kid anymore, but that's a good one. We have to remember what it was like to be a kid. We have to. We can't forget what it was like to be a kid when raising children. Especially now that we understand, if we're within this community, we have to understand that children are just mini adults. And so we can help them with the awareness that we have and the logical brain that we have. They don't have a logical brain. So it's our job to instill logic in them. But if you're continuously keeping them in a child's place because someone kept you in a child's place, you probably don't know how to use your logical brain either, which is okay because I'm learning how to use my logical brain too. I admit I have deficits. The problem is we don't want to admit that we have deficits. We don't want to admit it. And when we don't admit it, vulnerability with self and others, when we don't want to be vulnerable and admit that there's stuff that's going on, we're missing growth opportunities. We must be vulnerable enough within ourselves to admit that we don't know everything. And the sooner we do that, the sooner we can help ourselves and the sooner we can help our children. Uh-oh. My brother did say that how am I being disrespectful, and I had trouble explaining it to him. I'm realizing watching this, I'm thinking about if his non-compliance offended me because I had to be compliant. But it was never real respect. That's crazy. Mind blown. I'm telling you, it was never respect. It was just get down or get down. You know, get down or get down. You know, you have to respect out of compliance. You don't have to respect because anyone around you has done anything respectable. And I had to learn that. And now I've earned Bailey's respect. That's why I can say she's my best friend, because I move how Bailey needs me to move. I'm working on earning Angel's respect. And you earn your children's respect by moving the way that they need you to move. And you learn how they need you to move by sitting down and having a conversation. Say, what do you need to be okay? And a lot of times what our kids say they need to be okay are the exact same things we need to be okay. And why can't we grant it to them? Because they're children? No. We grant it to them because, oh yeah, that makes perfect fucking sense. That's what I need to be okay too. Same team. Yay, you know? And now you can vibe with your kid because, look, generational wealth is going to be built not because Day went into the league, not because Selena got a singing contract. No, generation is going to be built because we have learned how to live and stick together. We make fun of all these other cultures because they live together. And we think that's a sign of, I don't know, not ability to, I don't know what we think it is. Man, I live in Arizona. When I tell you these Mexicans be like 20 deep in one house. And when I was a kid, I used to be like, that's just ridiculous. But they all drive in Escalades. They all got $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in the bank. They all got da-da-da-da. They all move out of that lapped up ass house and go buy land. So who's really the fool here? The person who's 40 years old renting a house with 2 trucks in the garage that are going to get repossessed if I take them out the garage? Who's really the fool here? You know what I'm saying? So I have started, that's exactly why I started advocating for us to get along. We have to get along. Because if we get along, then we can stay together. And now it's not, okay, you're over 18, you need to start paying rent. You ain't got to pay rent. But how about now that you're over 18, we have 3 adult children, plus my husband's income, and soon it will be my income, but right now it's just my husband's. But let's just say, because we're speaking in our hypothetical world, we have 5 incomes. And let's just say what we all have to go towards a mortgage monthly or the plot of land monthly, $2,000 a piece, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now we have $10,000 to put monthly on a plot of land. I don't know how buying land works. I think you can make monthly payments. I don't think they expect you to show up with everything. But monthly, we could all contribute $10,000 to land, building our house, building whatever, building our compound. Versus you go over there, you go struggle 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 over there. Why? Because we don't like each other. We come together on Father's Day and Christmas and we watch a movie together, and that's family time. I don't want that for my family. That's why my goal was when my daughter turned 18, I don't want her to move out. No, you ain't got to pay me rent. No, do what you want to with your money. But you need to be responsible. And you know what she did? She started buying groceries. You know what she did? She bought her sister school supplies, and she bought her sister shoes and her backpack for school. You know what she does? She helps out. release control to gain control, because I made her an equal. When we make decisions in this house, we involve the children. Why? Because the decisions that are made within this home involve the children or impact the children. So why can't the children be involved in the decision? Now, they're not going to make the ultimate decision. My husband makes the ultimate decision, because I made the decision myself that I am no longer going to overrule my husband. My husband has final say. In the past, I have always had final say, and my husband hasn't said anything. He was like, every time I say something, you just shut me down, so I just don't talk. Well, I'm done shutting you down, so you got to start talking now. You got to start making decisions now, because decisions will not be made unless you make them. I'm done making decisions. And everybody's looking at me like, you're being lazy, you're dropping the ball. Nope. I'm done being domineering. I'm done controlling everybody. Everybody's got to control themselves. And so I'm about to yell at Caden, so it's going to get loud. I apologize. Caden! And so, he has to step up, and I have to allow him to step up, because he said his happiness is in my happiness, and my happiness was in getting my way. But in getting my way, everybody around me has to shrink themselves, because if I don't get my way, then I'm a turn up, whatever my turn up looks like. You know what I'm saying? It could just be an energy shutdown. I shut down my energy until I get my way. I make it to be real uncomfortable around me until I get my way. You know how we manipulate. And so I stopped doing all those things, and now I have to retrain my children. I have to retrain my husband. I have to retrain everyone around me, so that they know that, oh, I can speak and not get cussed out. Now I can. And I can't be mad at them like, why ain't you talking now? Well, just because you granted me permission to have a voice now doesn't mean that I'm comfortable using my voice. I'm still afraid from all the backlash I've gotten in the past. So it's going to be a slow awakening. And so the key is to never, ever shrink your kids in the first place. Michael and Caden have not been broken down. Not broken through, but broken down. Their spirits have not been depleted to where they're in a space of self-doubt and all these things. And yes, I did that to Bailey. Yes, I did that to Angel. Yes, if we admit that, we do that to our children when we say comply or deny. And we do deny. We deny love. Some of us deny food. Some of us deny whatever. Bailey done told me to put Angel in the backyard because she can't get her shit together. I was like, that one's going to get me arrested. I think there's a better solution. Talking to her is not helping. I was like, I know, but I think making her sleep in the backyard is going to be a stretch, even if I give her a 10. So we're going to rethink that. Letting the kids be involved in the problem solving, grain of salt. It was never real respect, yeah. And that's why I always said with the respect thing, when you die, will your children mourn the idea of you, or will your children mourn you? I want my children to mourn me, not the idea of me. And in order for my children to mourn me, they must know me and they must be connected to me. I must have a quality, valued relationship in order for my kids to mourn me, which means they're missing me. They're missing a piece because I was a piece of them. But if you keep so much distance between you and your children, because a child must stay in a child's place, and even when they turn an adult, and that's when you're comfortable of starting to build a relationship, if that relationship is being built on a shaky foundation, that's not a solid relationship either. So when you finally are okay with being a friend to your child, and they're like, okay, I'm okay with being a friend to you, be okay with that hard conversation. Please have that hard conversation, because that is a conversation, it's not, because I learned my cycle is I bully my husband until he does what I want him to do. Bully, argue. I'm done bullying my husband because I realized that cycle I planted the seed and I'm done. Because he was like, what does me having a conversation with my children have to do with you? I was like, you're right. It has nothing to do with me. The only reason why I'm trying to enforce you to have a conversation with your kids is because I want us all to be at peace. I need to have conversations with your kids, which your kids don't want to have conversations with me right now. They're not comfortable with that, which is really weird. Well, it's not weird. Their mentality, it's weird when you know the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? If we have these honesty conversations, then we can move on a solid foundation. But you're choosing to stay in the space of resentment. You're choosing to stay in a space of toxicity. All of these feelings that you're harboring in your gut, this is fucking up your vibration. We always talk about the stairs here, right? All this resentment is just going to keep you spinning your wheels. Why? Because your vibration, you could be doing all this higher vibrational stuff, but all you're really doing is keeping yourself stagnant because you're not trying to resolve any issues. You have to resolve those issues because you're like, I'm doing all this, I'm doing all this, I'm doing all this, but I can't progress. What aren't you doing? And that's probably what's keeping you stuck. And not having those hard conversations to heal and get rid of that crap that happened in the past. Let's address it. Let me hear you. Let me receive your truth. But you also have to be able to receive my truth. We're not talking to just talk. Dre was like, if I talk to my kids, they're just going to walk away from that conversation with the same attitude that they walked into the conversation. I was like, because you never taught your children how to receive an apology. Another one of your failures as a parent. And this is not me telling you that you failed as a parent. I'm saying if your children do not have the capability to receive an apology, who is supposed to teach them to receive an apology? The world? Were they supposed to just wake up and know how to receive an apology? Where are they supposed to learn? Who do you want to teach your children? I don't want nobody. I am so happy I am a single parent. And that's why, Coco, to your point, when I was a house divided, contradicting my husband behind his back, I've never raised children with anyone else. My first 2 children are by absent fathers. So it has been my way. And I've never had to say, well, actually, I've never had to work cohesively with someone. And then when I got with Dre, it was just contradict Dre, not in his face. But this is our little conversation over here. Just don't say nothing to Dre. Okay. You know, I'm still feeding into my kids, but I'm doing it against him. Even though I don't know that that's what I'm doing at the time, because I'm not trying to turn my children against my husband, but that's what I'm doing. You know, and whatever seeds I'm planting. I don't know what seeds I'm planting. We never know what seeds we're planting. That's why we always got to move how we're supposed to move. Because we don't know what trauma we're causing. But we are causing trauma. We're leaving a stain or we're leaving an impression. Do you want to leave a stain on somebody's life or do you want to leave an impression on somebody's life? I want to leave an impression, which means I'm doing good. What I believe to be good, that's what I'm doing. I don't want to stain anyone anymore. Because staining someone is dropping my vibration. And I'm trying to go. I'm trying to sprint up them damn stairs. You know how you on the stair stepper? That's how we usually are. We ain't going nowhere. We done climbed 150 floors, but we ain't moved nowhere. We just walking in place. No, I'm trying to climb 150 floors. I'm trying to be at the top. And those who know, you know you ain't never going to get to the top because there's always better. There's always more. You always can be a better version of yourself. We do and evaluate and how that influences our views as an adult. My husband is from Madagascar. I love your honesty on how your parenting style has changed throughout the years. Man, Carrie, my parenting style has changed since February. Everything that you see, this happened since February. I've had an inclination. I know, I love you too, Bubbas. Go.
Don't die there. Don't read my boy at BM. Or die The devil.
Oh my God, I wish you could find your beginning and ending sounds so that I can understand you.
Don't
Bubba.
Don't want Bobby at BAM. Bobby will be drawing you.
Okay.
That would happen if you want Bobby at BAM.
Okay. Thank you, dear.
Oh, don't tell the desert.
Okay.
He might kill you.
Oh, somebody's gonna kill you.
Yes.
Oh, that's heavy. Hey, shut my door all the way. I don't know. Maybe if I had a studio in my house. I don't go to my closet anymore because going to my closet is too much getting up and having to go somewhere to go to work. I don't like that. So that's why I'm sitting on my bed because I'm like, this doesn't feel like I'm chatting with friends. So I'm like, well, maybe if I have a studio in my house where I could just go and record uninterrupted. But even if I had a designated place to go, I don't know if I would do it because I don't like feeling obligated to do anything. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's because I've never had structure in my life. You know, my childhood. I did from six to 8, 2 solid years of structure. I'm 42 years old and I've had 2 solid years of structure in my life. Ain't that something? Because my dad came and got me from my mom. My mom was chaos. My dad came and got me and took me to Germany. Word on the curb is he kidnapped us. He said he was taking us for the summer. He just never brought us back. And I resented my mom until the day she died. All right, to the months before she died, I finally forgave her. But I hated my mom and I resented her because I thought she abandoned us. And it wasn't until maybe a year or two ago. Well, no, it's longer than that because my sister's the one that told me, and I ain't talked to my sister in years. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have a sister. But she's the one that said, no, actually, mom didn't abandon us. Dad kidnapped us. And I was like, say word? So y'all all have known this and allowed me to hate my mother because she abandoned me. No, she was being kept away from us. And she never said anything. Well, she said it in her way. She would say, you stole my babies from me, but I didn't understand. I was a child. But no one sat down and said, hey, Lonnie, this is what's going on. Everyone allowed me to resent this woman for something that was out of her control. So all the years that I lost potentially having a relationship with my mother, nobody had the awareness, emotional intelligence to sit me down and say, hey, that's not actually what happened. We have to stop keeping family secrets. We have to make people aware so that they're able to make their own decisions. Carby said, and you said it in a video, so I feel that I can repeat it. Carby was at a funeral, and that's where she found out who her daddy was. And then she got punished for trying to get to know her daddy. We got to stop keeping family secrets. If you don't want your kids to know who you were, don't be that person. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want secrets to get out, stop doing things that are secret worthy. My stepkids at any time can start talking about the treatment that I gave them from their perspective. And I'll eat it and I'll own it. I'll eat it. I did that stuff. But let me tell you why. Because I was talking to my stepson about when the energy shifted for us. Because my stepkids really were over there and we were over here. We were dad's new family. And it wasn't because we were dad's new family. It was because of the mother. Now, the stepson, he's like, no, you can't put all this on my mom. She didn't. And I'm like, okay, that is your truth. And I receive that. But 1, you don't have children. 2, you've never raised a child. 3, you've never had stepkids. And 4, you've never had to deal with another parent, i.e., you're dating a woman who has a child and now you have to deal with the father. You've never been in this space. So for you to say, 1, how I should have responded, and for 2, for you to say that's not how it happened, you can't speak to that. You can only speak to what you experience and what you believe to be true. And what I know to be true is when the mother abandoned those kids, and the way that she abandoned those kids was worse than you would do some on the street. And this is the second time this woman abandoned those children. When I met Dre, he was a single father. Why was he a single father? Per Dre, I don't know her story, but knowing what I know of this individual, I believe what Dre said to be true. She got tired of the experience of being a mother and being a wife, and she walked out. And she left him. Now, I'm not saying my husband was the best husband, because the stories that I've heard, they were toxic and volatile and violent, and it was just a mess. And they both should have got up out of that relationship. They both victimized each other. So it was for the greater good, but that doesn't take away that this woman got up and walked out on her kids and left them behind. For whatever reason, I'm not judging her. What I'm saying is, what are the abandonment issues that these children are experiencing? What are the abandonment issues that I'm experiencing? Believing that my mom walked out on me. No, she was kept away from me, rightfully so, because she was a mess. And my dad was the more stable parent. But don't allow me to believe the narrative that I was allowed to believe. So I understand his children more than they understand that I understand them. And I had that compassion, but you also ain't gonna bully me. You ain't gonna run up on me and I'm going to allow it because you're a child. No, I'm not going to allow it because you're a child. And so the way that this woman abandoned these kids the second time, it was in such an egregious way that they finally understood. This is per my understanding. They finally understood, you know what, Lonee's not that bad. Lonee has really just been defending herself this whole time. And I'm not saying they're thinking that, because I don't think that they have any compassion towards me. But I think that they grew closer to me out of resentment for their mother. And I don't care what it took for them to treat me like a decent human being. They actually treat me like a decent human being now. They don't walk past me and roll their eyes at me and ignore me and, talk to everybody in the house but me. And they've done other things, but they don't do those things anymore to me. And I was like, oh, we could start building from here. But while we're building from here, we got to knock all this other shit out, because I'm not building anything on a rocky foundation. So when you're ready to talk to me, let's talk. Because I apologize. I ask you for your forgiveness. And when you're ready to give me your forgiveness, I'm here. But he said, that's not how it happened. And I said, well, okay. That is how it happened. When your mom exited the picture, you guys started treating me and your father like humans again. So the variable, I'm trying to remember the whole point that I was making, but I totally lost my point. So I'm just going to keep going. He realizes some of his ways are wrong, just hasn't put the plan into action to make the change. So what I experience, what we are experiencing is, what's the plan? Where do we go from here? I have no fucking idea. And Bailey was like, it's fucking chaos in this house. I was like, I know, but I don't know what to do. I only knew how to beat my kids into submission. Now I got to figure out how to get them to respect me. I don't know how to get them to respect me. Well, the plan now is, and I don't know if this is right, I'm making this shit up as I go. The plan now is I have to sit on my kids, i.e., if I want them to clean up, I have to be present. If I want them to do something, I have to be present. I have to teach them. All the things that I should have taught them when they were kids, I have to teach my 11-year-old now. Why? Because I never taught it then. Because I didn't know how to teach her. She just did it because I beat her. You know what I'm saying? And so, and when I say beat, I'm not beating on my kids, but you know what I'm saying? I spanked my children. I physically disciplined my children. It just rolls out easier. I beat them. And so the problem is, but this is beautiful. And I repost all my lives on YouTube. Make sure you follow Lonee Taylor. Sorry, boom, wrong last name. Lonee Appleton Lives on YouTube. Make sure you follow over there. I repost all my lives there. So if you're not here for the entire live, because I'm here for 3 hours. I get it. I wouldn't even listen to me for 3 hours. Actually, I would. I would just put me on and listen to me like a podcast. But anyway, if you ask a question in the comments and I don't get to it in the time that you're present, know that you could always go pull it up on YouTube, Lonee Appleton Lives. You're in a place of advantage because if your spouse realizes that there's areas of improvement, but they don't know how to improve, at least they're willing to change. If they're willing to evolve and change and develop some new skills, we just got to figure out what those skills are. And the cool thing is you can sit, and this is a bonding moment between you and your spouse. If they're open to it, you can sit and figure out what's the next thing to do. Dre's not really open to that. Dre's not really, but he's changed how he's talked to the kids. So boom, that's all I needed. All I needed was how he talks to our children. And now when he talks to them, he's building them up and he's uplifting them. He's not saying, why can't you get right? He's saying, you know what? You're capable of excellence. What do you need to be excellent? And of course, that's my language, but that's the way that we speak to our kids now, with a twist of, that really pissed me off when you rewrote my stuff. And here's why. It's a mix. But I'm trying to get to the space where it's none of that, but it's a process. You just have to develop a plan of action. And right now, it's me realizing my kids don't know what respect looks like for me because I never taught them. I just taught them to get down or get down. You know what I'm saying? So what does respect look like for me? Okay, what does respect look like for them? How can we meet in the middle? Okay, my kids don't know how to clean their room. Why not? Because you never taught them. Your kids don't know how to do this. Why not? You never taught them. And Dre's like, that's common sense. For who? So we have to teach our kids all the things that we think our kids should know. Who teaches them? How do they know? Let's look at a baby. A baby knows how to shit, piss, eat, and cry, and sleep. That's it. You headed to work?
Yes, but I need the card.
There you go. You're welcome. Have a great day. Love you.
Are you ready?
Bye, dear.
Bye.
Yeah, so, a baby only knows how to do those basic bodily functions. They learn everything else. Where do they learn it from? So respect, where do they learn it from? How to sit still, where do they learn it from? Especially this generation. This generation ain't our generation. This generation is like everybody ADHD. Like that's standard. It's no longer outliers who don't move and think like we do. My cousin told me they're called crystal children. The generation that is so, and all an ADHD person to me is just a person that is so tapped into their intuition, but they don't know that they're tapped into their intuition. They don't know what it is. They just don't think like everybody else. And their brain is doing all this stuff and they can't focus. It's because they are so enlightened. They are so connected, but they don't know how to, that connectivity. They don't know how to harness it. And we don't know how to teach them to harness it because they're moving on a whole different wavelength than we moved on. And all we know how to do is medicate it. It's not about medicating it and dumbing it down. It's about managing it. And if someone needs medication, that's what I told Angel. I was like, I'll get you tested for ADHD. Medication will be what medication is, but you need to learn how to self-manage yourself. Don't manage yourself because you're so medicated that you just, no, learn how to manage yourself. I'm 100% convinced that I have ADHD. People who have ADHD and autism, they see me and they're like, I recognize you. So I know that I have those traits. And I learn how to self-manage. So it's possible, yes, medication if necessary. I'm not anti-medication. But it is also possible to learn how to self-manage yourself. That's good. You're a united front now. Yes, we all are coming together. And I don't know if you're talking to me, but I'm assuming you are. Yes, we are coming together and working together to understand each other. The logic preach, stay among friends, would be like, I hope when I'm a parent, we're not stupid because it felt like parents weren't smart or operating from logic. Yeah. Most adults don't use their logical brain because remember, we don't develop our logical brain until early 20s, mid 20s, which means we spent 20 some odd years of our lives operating in reactionary brain. So it has to be an intentional shift from reactionary brain to logical brain. Talk about that in my book, What's the Best That Can Happen, available at LoneeTaylorArt.com. and Amazon. Just look for the seller Lonee Taylor. We have to intentionally move from reactionary brain to logical brain, but because of peer thinking, group think, and herd mentality, it's difficult for us to move from reactionary brain because when we actually start thinking, but everybody else around us isn't thinking, we're the outsider. And we have to be okay with being the outsider. I'm okay with being the outsider. I'm okay with not thinking like everybody else. I'm okay with not moving like everybody else. But because I'm okay with that, I am the outsider. You know, people, whenever Dre's popular, you know, he hangs around his popular people. And because I'm his wife, he brings his not so popular wife along who does not like to be around people and who does not like to, you know, have mindless conversations. And so everybody's like, what's wrong with your wife? What's wrong with your wife? There's nothing wrong with me. I just don't move like y'all move. And I'm only here because my husband asked me to be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Learning to express themselves assertively. I see what you're saying. So when the kids get older and you're like, why they let their friends run them, imagine where they got it. Yeah. If we continuously mind control our children, they become children, or they become adults that are mind controlled. They become group think. Boom. See, Coco? You better talk, yo. You be saying the simplest stuff and it just makes my mind go, zoop. That's where group mentality comes from. That's where group think comes from. Because we never allowed our children to think for themselves. They had to think how we think. We are the first people to teach our children group think. We must allow our children to think for themselves as soon as possible. If we do not want our children to replicate herd mentality, if we don't want our children to look for the approval of others, because look, our children look for our approvals, right? They want to say, you know, look, mom, no hands. And we're supposed to be like, yeah, encouragement's beautiful. But also there's opportunities where, you know, they're trying to figure something out. Boom. Okay. You better teach me then. I'm gonna leave her alone about her writing. But anyway, you know, they start looking for the approval of others because they can't stand on their own. They must get the buy-in of others. And so we're setting our children up by doing everything for them, by not telling them the why, by making them in this house, you know, no, you need to have a house full of individuals who know how to work together. That way you now have created children who can go out into the world full of individuals, and your children are the people who know how to work together. And if enough of us come together where we are all individuals who know how to work together, then the conflict that we see in this world in our worlds, we can't control the entire world, but the people that we choose to surround ourselves with, which we need to be more cognizant of the people and energies that we allow around ourselves. We don't just allow anyone around us and then demand they get down or get down. No. If they don't get down, they get out. And that's up front. They got to prove themselves worthy up front before they even gain access. And I talked about this in a previous live. Go look for me doing this in the live if you want to know what I'm talking about. But by having our children comply, do as I do, not as I say, we are creating the next generation of group thinkers. Boom. That was a powerful one. Good job, Coco. He is a cutie. Appreciating your kid when they do what you want does wonders. Give them they cookie. Yeah, I gas my kids up so much. I know Dre be looking at me like, you are tripping. I'll be like, yes, you do that. I love your backwards inside out t-shirt. Yes. You like it? So do I. You know, we had this conversation earlier. I was like, I don't disagree with nobody. Everybody's right. Yep, you're right. Yep, you're right. Yep, you're right. Why? Because that's your truth. That's your reality. With my stepkids, yep, you're right. You say that's not how it happened? You're right. How did it happen for you? That's how it happened? Okay, I receive that. Can you receive how it happened for me? Because in order for someone to be right, that does not mean that somebody has to be wrong. Because it's everybody's experience. Me and Dre will sit here and watch the exact same movie, and we're both marveling at the different things. I'm watching the production of the movie. I'm watching the background. I'm watching how everything is coming together. He's watching the action. So we're sitting here and we're going, having a conversation about the movie afterwards, and we watch two completely different movies, even though we watched the exact same movie. So how it happened, you're right. But can I be right too? I don't even got rewrite it when I say back to, I don't even know what you said with that one, kiddo. I don't even got rewrite it when I say back to you. I'm gonna leave that one alone. She could have been like, I did that. Yes, she probably did. She felt good and I tore her down. I know, I'm working on it though. Hold on. Y'all in here talking. I love it. Sorry if I'm like a million comments behind. But I had a conversation with Coco, and Coco made me feel okay with how this flows. I was self-conscious and, I want to keep up with the comments, but I think that you guys are okay with how this is. I think you're okay with the one-sided conversation. I think you're okay because I'm like, well, we need to have conversations and blah, blah, blah. No. If you didn't like it, you wouldn't be here. You are not sitting on this live because you're my mom and you have to support me. None of you are my family members. None of you are my friends. You are my friends. We have bonded, but none of you have to be here. So for you to be here means that you're okay with how this flows. And Coco made me comfortable with that because I was like, man, I got to figure out how to make this more of a conversation. No, y'all just talk to each other in the comments. Y'all know, y'all grown women and men, but y'all know how to conduct yourselves. And I love it. It's beautiful. Which, if it's not, fine, but there's a way to critique kids. I haven't figured out yet, but we have to encourage them while critiquing them. I do it too. I haven't learned how to not be like, you're not trying because I wouldn't try this way. Do you think not being, okay, that's a different question. Yes, you're right. The first time I taught Angel how to ride a bike was a very traumatic experience. She was 4 years old. And I was very mean to her. But I didn't think I was that mean because I posted a video. Nobody criticized me because we're all mean to our kids. But now that I'm in a space where I'm not mean to my kids, I'm like, damn, yeah, I was mean. The second time I taught Angel how to ride a bike, I was firm. Because I had started the work. But I was early on in the work. So I wasn't saying all the dumb stuff I used to say. But I still was experiencing that frustration because as a parent, you have a certain level of expectations of your children because they're your children. Damn it, you're a part of me. You better move like I move. I move in excellence. You better move in excellence too. But what is their excellence? What is their excellence? We cannot downplay what they're doing. So I totter between, is this their excellence or is this mediocrity? And because it doesn't look like my definition of excellence, I'm going to say they're not even trying, but they could be. And when I talk to them, shut the door. When I talk to her, I'm like, are you even trying? And she's like, yes. Can I believe her? Because is she saying yes to get me off of her back? Or is she saying yes because she's trying? But the key to what you're saying is I must believe her because the correction is not in tearing her down. The correction is in building her up, because as I continue to trust her and listen to her, she will start believing in herself. This is a theory and I'm going to try this shit. This is like, I believe it's Carrie. I'm sorry. Earlier was saying her husband has recognized areas but doesn't know how to move. I'm just testing this out. I don't know if this works. But if I can just constantly feed into her, now I have to control my mind, and that's a whole nother issue. But when you're starting to make changes, first you stop verbally saying it, but you still say it in your head. And eventually you stop saying it in your head. So I can still say and think whatever I think in my head, as long as I'm not verbally saying it and it's not in my body language. Because my believing in her is going to increase her belief in self. And as she increases her belief in self, she's going to level herself up. And I learned this because of Dre. I tried to bully Dre into compliance, and he was moving anyway. All of that anger and all of that frustration was my choice. It wasn't necessary. He was going to move how he moves anyway. And me pressuring him only caused him to move slower. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try to receive what she's saying as true, not her just pushing me off. And I'm going to say, hey, can we sit down and edit this together? Let's sit down and just look at what we wrote and how we could write this better. How can we both improve upon ourselves? Let's share our ideas. That's a way to say, hey, you need to fix this. When they go low, we go high. That's a way to say, hey, we can fix this, but we're working together and I'm not tearing you down to build you up. I'm just going to build you up from a high space. I'm going to try that. Do you think not being heard makes you offended when you feel someone isn't hearing you? No, because I'm used to not being heard. What that means is I'm not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we're talking on a familial level, no. It's frustrating because it's lonely, but it's not lonely anymore. Now, there's different levels. The Lonee that you guys get is not it has become the everyday Lonee. I don't speak unless I'm speaking. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk. I speak. But back in the time when I talked and people, I don't know, I can't even respond to that. I'm used to not being heard. But now that I've been heard, I will not be unheard, if that makes sense. Now that I've found my voice, I'm not shutting up again. Because I went through life very frustrated because no one understood me and people made me feel like there was a problem with me. And there's not a problem with me. I just communicate with people who can understand how I communicate. I don't speak English. I speak whatever the hell I'm speaking, and those who understand it. And they understand it. They understand it, And people who don't, I'm not for everybody, and I accepted that. But when I was younger and I was a child, yes, it did make me feel frustration because it was isolation. But in that isolation, if we could use that isolation as a classroom, and thank you all for the love. We are up to 4,000 likes. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And 3 views consistently. Hey, we're up. And I'm thankful and I appreciate you all. As a child, it created isolation. But in that isolation, I started self-seeking. And in that self-seeking, I got to know myself. So, yes, it was frustrating. I document that in my book, What's the Best That Can Happen, available at LoneeTaylorArt.com or on Amazon. Yes, I'm going to sell these books. I'm sorry, but that's what I'm doing. This one's available on buybooksontheweb.com. I got merch for you, too. Let me find a pillow to rest my head on. I'm just playing. Yes, all available at LoneeTaylorArt.com. Isolation gave me the classroom to find myself and do the work. So things that make us frustrated are just areas of growth. Do you think not being heard? Oh, that is a bump up against me, like people doing what you want to be doing. Look at that angel just mirroring you back to you. You better be quiet. Yeah, I didn't watch TV for years. Because it used to piss me off. You want to know what happened? Why I stopped watching TV? I was laid up in bed one day and I was like 6 hours deep into The Deadliest Catch. Do y'all know that show where they're catching crab? I was 6 hours deep into watching these motherfuckers catch crabs. And I was like, Lonnie, what are you doing? Like, you literally just spent 6 hours. And it's okay. It's okay to unplug from yourself and go plug into nonsense. It's okay. We ain't got to use our brain all the damn time. Shit. It's a lot. This is a lot. It's okay to dumb yourself down. It's not okay to live in a state where you are plugged into that BS more than you are plugged into yourself. You know what I'm saying? More than you are doing your work. You can start with 5 minutes of silence with yourself. And if you don't like what's going on in your head, I got you, sis. 5 minutes with yourself. Increase to 10 minutes with yourself. Increase to 15 minutes with yourself. Increase the time that you're spending in your head. And if you don't like what's going on in your head, write that shit down and start doing the work. I'm ugly. I'm fat. I'm stupid. I can't do anything right. All these things that you say to yourself in your head, write that shit down and start doing the work. The Big Blue Book and Alcoholics Anonymous, I found that when I was going through my mom's stuff. I love that damn book. I'm going to go read it again. That's one of the books I recommend everybody read. The Big Blue Book. In addition to my books, The Big Blue Book. Go read that book for perspective. The 4 Agreements. Go read that book and apply the principles. That book changed my life. The Big Blue Book changed my life. I'll do a video on books that changed my life because I can't think of all of them. There are distinct books that changed my thinking. Every book, everything, this damn comment section has shifted my thinking. So everything is a learning opportunity to evolve yourself. Everything. So don't take anything for granted. But the Big Blue Book says, and of course, I'm not going to say, it's their mantra. Accept the things that you can't change and change the things you can, and something, I don't know. It might even be the Serenity Prayer. I don't know. That book's still amazing. But anyway, as you write these things that you are going through in your head down, accept the things that you cannot change. I can't change my gap. I can't change my forehead. I can't change my skin complexion. I can't change my fat elbows. I can't change none of that stuff. So it's for me to accept it. This is me. This is me. This is me. This is me. So people are like, how can you get on here looking like this? Because this is me. I've learned to accept myself. Can I get on when I want to get on? Can I put on when I want to put on? Hell the fuck yeah. But I learned to accept me. I had really bad acne. I still have acne-prone skin. I'm sure you can see my acne scars. I actually think they're beautiful now. I think they're character. I had really bad acne until I had Caden. Every child, that's why I think that the answer to acne is in something within the birthing process. Whatever doctor taps into that is going to be a billionaire. Because for 3 months, the last 3 months that I was pregnant with Angel, I stopped breaking out. The last 3 months I was pregnant with Michael, I stopped breaking out. And then after I had him, I started breaking out again. With Caden, the last 3 months I was pregnant with him, I stopped breaking out. And I stopped breaking out for years. And I recently, maybe a year ago or a year or two ago, he's only 4, so it can't be too many. I think I had 2 strong years of clear skin. Now I've been breaking out since I was a teenager. I remember I'd be like, oh, look, I got a pimple. No, and then my face just, and I was stuck. I was like, damn, I never go in, and I pass that on to Bailey. I feel bad, but she's managing it. But, you know, I had to appreciate the skin that I'm in. I never liked how it looked. You can't even shut the door, though. It's not so much that you came in the room. It's the fact that you left the door open, so now all that noise is in the background. Go close the door. And you stay out there while you're at it. You just go watch your TV show. Mommy's almost done.
It's not TV show.
Okay, well, whatever it is.
It's the YouTube.
Okay, well, go and watch your little YouTube. Let mommy work.
Did you hear it?
I can hear it. But when you shut the door, I don't hear it as loud. So I appreciate when you shut the door. So you're going to open the door, and you're going to exit, and you're going to shut the door behind you. Oh, look at you. Oh, don't play games. Outside. Thank you. So, you know, I had to learn. Yeah, okay, I'll receive it. Bye.
Mom, I want to tell you something.
What, Bubba?
Are you Booty Mom?
I am not Booty Mom, but if that's what you want to call me, sure. Shut the door.
You Booty Mom.
I'll take it. Shut the door. You know, so I had to become okay because I don't like how it looks, you know, when you have the acne and all the makeup on top of it, and there's nothing against it. If you like the look, then boom. I'm talking my perspective and my experience. I don't judge others. I just knew that wasn't what I liked on me. And my acne would be so bad, I'm like, I just need to put a fucking brown paper bag over my head. I look terrible. But I was like, I can't walk around with a brown paper bag on my face, and I can't stop the acne, and I'm not putting on a face full of makeup. Damn it, this is my face. You know, so, and it's so funny when I talk to people, they're like, I didn't even notice you know, I don't even pay attention to that. I was like, how do you not pay attention to this stuff? We pay attention to things that other people don't pay attention to. We have insecurities that other people have no idea what the hell we're talking about. I bet y'all ain't ever noticed my elbows. They actually look good, y'all. They look good. I used to have a whole little meat. You know, the fat back cooking auntie? I was her, even though I don't cook. Yep, I had her elbows though. You know, so we are insecure about things because we look out into the outside world, and the outside world glamorizes the opposite of what we have. And because the outside world glamorizes the big booties, if we don't have a big booty, then we have a problem. And if we have a big booty, we think we're better than the flat booty chick. No, it's just meat in the back. And I ain't discounting the booty because my ass is gone. So I understand the importance of an ass. I understand, and I am mourning my booty, and I'm working to get her back. But, you know, society glamorizes these things. And if we do not have these things, I remember as a kid, I used to put a white t-shirt on my head because I wanted long blonde hair. Why? Because the Cindy Crawfords, was Cindy Crawford a blonde? I don't know. But you know what I mean. All the Claudia Shepherds, I don't know. I'm just throwing names out from my childhood. But all those people, you know, they were glamorized. Blonde hair, blue eyes, blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin, you know, all of that shit. So I felt bad about who I am, and I developed insecurities. Not because anyone said there's anything wrong with the hair on my head. Not because anyone said, well, the insecurities that I pointed out, I got made fun of my gap. I got made fun of my skin complexion. I got made fun of for my forehead. And I got made fun of by those things from Havon, from other Black people. All of my insecurities didn't come from the outside world. Some of my insecurities came from my peers. And that's why I know Black women, we have work to do, because some of you Black women are the little girls who used to bully me. And if you have not done work, then you are not a nice person. You got some work to do. So we can't think just because we're Black women, we're perfect. No. I was a nice person, and I still got work to do. But yeah, after you've written your list of the things that you don't like about yourself, and I walk you through that process in this book, after you've done the work to heal yourself, okay, I'm listening, Spirit. Spirit said, hold it up so people can actually see it, because just because I assume everybody on here is used to me flashing my book, maybe not. So hold it up long enough so people can actually see it and screenshot it if they choose. Available at LoneeTaylorArt.com. But anyway, you know, after you've discerned the things about you that you can't change and you do the work to accept it. After you've accepted, you now do the work to do the things that you can. If you don't like your weight, do the work to change it. If you don't like the way that you speak, do the work to change it. If you don't like the way that you think, oh my God, I hated myself. Do the work to change it. If you don't like anything about yourself that is changeable, change it. And the thing is, our society says we don't need to change for nobody. Nobody should try to change you. Yeah, if you grew up fucked up and nobody was feeding into you, you live in a very self-damning headspace. And you're doing things that are contradictory to self-love. You need to change. And it's okay. That's the work we do here every day. I'm back. Sorry, needed to take my meds and warm my food. Carby, how are you feeling? I don't even know if you're still back, but how are you healing? How's everything? Carby just had surgery. She is posting her videos of her experience because she's advocating for us to get out there and advocate for ourselves and not allow the medical professionals to F us over. So yeah, Carby's out there doing the work and getting us together. And humorously, her stories are hilarious. Carby's hilarious. Yes, that's a fact. I definitely tell hubby sometimes when they get too loud in his head, I be like, remembering playing is not a quiet thing. You can tell them they are too loud without ruining fun. Yes. Dre's always yell, y'all need to be quiet. I'm like, it's 120 degrees outside. Where the hell they gonna run around and play? We live in Arizona. Our kids have to turn our house into a playground. They have to be able to jump on the furniture. Right or wrong, they can't go outside. They'll die. It's like as soon as you go outside in Arizona, it's like, you just combust. You know, so if my kids want to play, I have to allow them to play. That's why you see my kids riding their bikes in the house. That I've always dreamed of, because that's something I wanted to do as a kid. Honestly, I wanted to be able to ride my bike in the house, and I wanted to skateboard in the house. That's why I let my kids do it, because I think it's cool that we have a house big enough that my kids could damn ride a bike in. I can't wait till we have hallways big enough that this motherfucker could just... You need a bike to get around this goddamn house. That's how big it is. It's not going to be that big, but you understand what I'm saying. I love that my kids can do the things that they do. But in doing the things that they do, they're destroying things. So how can they learn value while enjoying themselves? You know what I'm saying? So there's somewhere in between that I'm missing. But yeah, he's always like, y'all need to be quiet. I was like, well, if they don't get to go outside and play, it's too hot. Where are they going to play? Man, whatever. I was like, I'm just saying, logical brain, where are these motherfuckers going to play? They got to sit and be quiet? Nah. I'm with you on that one. I just told my kids, had I not had surgery, we would have did our water park trip we do every year. Yeah. I like Carby as a mom. I really like the people we're attracting into this community. Good people. Told them I hope I didn't ruin their summer. And what did they say? Tell me what they said. I know you done fed them and they said the right stuff. They said I took them to 2 other parks and it's okay. They don't feel I ruined anything. See, I talked to them just to be sure I'm doing this parenting right. This is the feedback. Coco was like, I don't know if I should tell creators that they, their message was good or they inspired me or, let them know. But no, we live for that stuff. If I'm putting all this information out there and I'm my only test subject to get that feedback, like, hey, I tried out what you said and it worked, like that gives me life. So for Carby to say, and I don't know what Carby was doing before me, but I know that she communicates with me philosophies that I hold myself, whether they came from me or not. We may have aligned because we have the same philosophies, but to hear her parenting the way that I would parent makes me excited to know that what I'm doing is working and it's working for her and it's working for someone else and it's working for someone else. So there's something here. So it's exciting. And I love that you are getting down and you're letting your kids, and I love that your kids are appreciative of what they have received. They don't take what you give them for granted. They're like, boom, mom, you've already given us enough. What can we give to you? These are the kids that not like, who's going to take care of mom? No, they're going to be like, mom's staying with me. They're going to be fighting over you. Why? Because you bring that value and you taught them to appreciate you. We teach our kids to take us for granted. When we don't teach our kids to apologize to us, when we don't teach our kids to say thank you to us, when we teach our kids to just receive from us and we don't want anything in return, we teach our kids to be ungrateful. We teach our kids to not take accountability. We teach our kids to be these adults who expect stuff. Why? Because mom and dad just gave us stuff and we didn't have to do anything in return. We never had any conversations about disappointments. I just had to sit in my anger without understanding that mom just had critical surgery. She can't take us to the water park. But because mom's having the conversations beforehand, mom's having the conversations during, mommy's having the conversations and dad, but I'm speaking to Carby. Mom's having the conversations afterwards. Mom's constantly checking in to see where her kids are. And the kids have the freedom to have the voice to say, this is where we're at. And she can see her kids are in a good space because she did the groundwork before. She's showing appreciation. She's teaching her kids appreciation. She's teaching her kids gratitude. She's teaching her kids empathy. They could see mom's down. So they're not looking at themselves. They're like, how can we take care of you? That's fucking beautiful. I love that shit. I don't want to be the person that drives my kids to therapy when I could have made changes. And when I tell you, I used to joke about this. I was like, y'all gonna need therapy after me raising you. I used to say that all the time because that was a joke. It all starts at home. My daughter asked me if she's getting kicked out at 18. I said, that generational curse stops here, honey. Yes. We ain't kicking our babies out. They're not ready. Especially if you waited to transfer knowledge to your child until they're 18. Bailey gained freedom around 14, 15 years old because someone talked to me about giving her freedom. But it was 14, 15 years old that she started being treated in a way that she was allowed to make decisions for herself, and I was able to walk her through those decisions. But if we don't open up that platform for our kids, because I think ideally, if our kids are equipped, when they turn 18, they're ready to fly. Because we've been giving them everything they need, but financially, I'm not sure how that works out. But they should be able to sustain without us because we've been giving them classrooms for the 18 years that they were with us. We just don't know if they can sustain without us. And that's why we need to be able to get along so that we can stay together. So I love that your child doesn't have to worry about that 18-year-old clock striking and now they got to get out. Bailey's literally saying, I need to move out because I'm sick of these kids. I was like, well, if that's what you choose, but there's always going to be something that is going to annoy you. You move out of here with these roommates, you're going to move out there with some other roommates, and they're going to do some things that annoy you too. So, yes, these are your siblings, but these are your first roommates. You need to learn how to live with these roommates. Instead of going out there, at least you know the foundation that these annoying ass roommates have. At least you can correct these annoying ass roommates without any flack. You don't have to go out there and move out with a complete stranger because you can't get along with your family. That's problematic. And for us to receive that as anything but problematic is a problem. That needs to be fixed because there's no such thing as a problem. Think about math. There's no such thing as a problem. There's always a solution. Same thing. She asked me that I said, get a job, save for you, or make a savings account. Yep. I want to get my kids money market accounts. I want us all to sit down with a financial planner. I want us all to sit down with a financial planner as a family so that we can start a family fund. This is something that I believe my aunt does with her children. Every month they put like $50 into a bank account. I don't know. Everybody in the family, there's 4 of them. They all put $50 in the bank account. And then as emergencies come up, people are allowed to take from that bank account. I'm sure it's a consensus. It's not just somebody dip in there, and I'm sure if there's someone who's abusing the bank account, then they lose access to the bank account. But I love that. And I would love to do that as a family. We start a family bank account. Everybody's putting $50 in a month. And if somebody's car has an emergency, boom, go to the bank account. And no, you don't have to put the money back. You just keep putting your $50 in every month and we continue to grow the account. But we sat down with a financial planner and we learned fiscal responsibility. So soon as we have the financial means to do so, we will sit down with a financial advisor. We will establish a trust. We will establish generational wealth. We're going to start doing the work to get shit done and set ourselves up. I am done hustling backwards. I've had enough awareness to get us this far, but even in that awareness, I have fallen into the same traps and snares that I felt into before, just on a grander scale. This will be the second time that I climb myself out of credit card debt. And this credit card debt might be bankruptcy debt. My credit card debt before, yes, me and Dre paid off $50,000 of debt in our first year being together because we were snowballing and Dave Ramsey and all that stuff, and our overhead was low. My baby was on Section 8, so we was only paying like $79 a month for rent. That meant all the money he was bringing in and the money that I was bringing in was going squash, 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 kill it, kill it, kill it. And then we got our credit right and we got higher credit lines. And then we moved out of the Section 8 home. I think it was $700. He was paying $700 a month. And then I was like, we can't do this Section 8 thing anymore. We don't need to. We're taking a resource away from people who need it. And so we got off of Section 8 and it turned to $1,400 a month. And then we moved and it turned to $1,700 a month. And now we're at $2,150 a month. So we went from bringing in this same amount of money, actually more because I had a full-time job, from bringing in this type of money, paying $700 a month. So yes, we can handle our business. Yes, we could live this lifestyle. So we established this lifestyle on all of this money that was available for us to spend on this lifestyle. But as we elevated our lives and, we went from one car to he has a truck, he was able to buy his first car, when he was Ubering everywhere. And I was like, babe, you're spending a car payment in Ubers. Just get a car now that your credit's right. So, he got to experience buying his first vehicle and all these different things and his credit score and all these beautiful things that are happening. But the thing is, as we elevate, we're creating all these new bills, but the money is still the money that it was. And yes, the money went farther when our overhead was here. But now our overhead is here, but we're still living like our overhead is here. And that's how we ended up in this space that we're at now, because we don't know. I don't know. So that's why when things turn around, we all as a family will be in front of a financial planner. We will establish a trust and we gonna get to the business of generational wealth. Dead ass. And I'm gonna teach other people how to do it. I'm gonna go pay for it, but then I'm gonna go spill the beans. You already know. I'm gonna tell everybody. I achieve a little bit of success. God damn it, I'm telling everybody. Everybody! This is how you get your money right. I'm telling everybody. And we gonna create some generational wealth, because the generational wealth isn't us going there, and there. No, the generational wealth is in us staying together and creating something fucking amazing. And we gonna do that stuff. Future tense. You can make a minimal payment, then pay monthly. I wish I knew until you own it. Oh, yeah. Land. I want a store. Somebody, even if my kids end up running it so they have their own business, fine. Yeah. One of the things I wanted to talk about was building legacy, residual income, so the next generation can add to it. I must write these books. I must I must. I'm done quitting on myself. That is the mantra. I am done quitting on myself. That means all the things that I've tried and I've quit. I almost quit doing these lives because I was like, I did a couple. What's the point? But then I realized yesterday that these lives are preparing me to sit up for hours and just talk. This is a classroom. I'm not doing these lives potentially. Like, we have to derive meaning from everything. Whatever you need to do to keep going, you tell yourself whatever story is necessary. You're not lying to yourself. You are motivating yourself. So now we must derive meaning. We must derive meaning from everything. Why am I doing these lives when there's one person here? Why am I doing these lives when there's 0 people here? Why am I? What's the point? I quit. Because you're thinking today. Today is shaping tomorrow. What are you doing today to shape your tomorrow? If you quit today, then you have the exact same BS tomorrow. I don't want the same BS tomorrow, which means I'm going to show up for myself today. And today is training me to sit my ass up and talk for hours. And there's people that are going to pay to see me talk for hours. I know that. And in the past, I was hesitant to say that because I don't want to seem cocky or anything. But I'm building a legacy right now. God has finally granted me the opportunity to start building the vision I was given as a child. And in knowing that, I know what I'm putting out, if I dies with me, unless I create a legacy. So getting the store and putting into, I think it's called a conservatory or something like that. You pretty much, instead of giving it to your child, I don't know how it works, but I know it's out there. Instead of giving it to your children to run, you put it in a conservatory or something like that. Those of you who know what it is, type it in the comments. You put it in a conservatory and the conservatory runs it for you on their behalf. Now, I don't understand how all that works, but I know that all this brand building I'm building, I need it to be within the trust and I need it to be managed there so my kids aren't responsible for managing it, because this is my passion. This is not their passion. That's why we have all of these people are like, they're trying to groom their child to take over the family business. But that's not the child's passion. So the child cannot pursue their passion because they're stuck in the family business out of respect. Out of, this is bringing us money, so somebody got to keep it going. But there is a way to set it up to where it's maintained through something, and then your kids are able to do. So I need to write the books. I need to, continue with the merch line and continue. I've always had a dream. I sent a picture to Coco earlier. I was like, I started a t-shirt line like a decade ago. In 2013, I started a t-shirt line that also had messages with meaning. It wasn't just some random stuff. But bitches, get money. It didn't have random stuff like that. It had meaningful, purposeful stuff. Like, you're wearing affirmations on your body. And not only are you affirming for yourself, you're also people who read your shirt. Now you're teaching them something. So you're affirming for yourself, but you're also teaching when you're wearing Lonee Taylor art merch. You know what I'm saying? It has meaning. Loving the skin that I'm in. I put that tagline with her because she's multi. She represents all of us, from the lightest to the darkest. And I love the skin that I'm in. I didn't just put this on this pillow with her. I put her on the pillow with this because there's a message there. Yes.
Hi.
Hey, Bubba.
What are you doing?
I'm working. You want my merch?
Yes.
Okay. I want my merch too. And you should want my merch too. LoneeTaylorArt.com. She's fly. That's brown sugar right there. And she said, know your worth. What are you worth? Know your worth. Every time you look at this pillow, you should know your worth. Remind yourself, what is your worth? And then add some tax.
What's the name?
Add some tax. That's Andy.
Andy,
Yeah. Add some tax. So everything has purpose. Everything has meaning. Everything has purpose. This is evolving. This is how. This is merch. Thank you.
Get the mud right now.
Get the merch right now. You tell him. Thank you, Bubba. You know, this has purpose. This has meaning. This is my spiritual evolution. This is how I healed myself. So, you know, you buy these books and you're like, does it work? Yes. This is teaching about
Mommy.
the HIV/AIDS epidemic.
Mom.
That is mommy.
The mom died.
That's mommy.
Buy the mud.
Buy the merch. Watch out, Bubba. You know, this is speaking about the HIV/AIDS epidemic. You know, now, I wouldn't get this for your teenager, but your young adult, yes. Can we educate and entertain at the same time? Can you stop with the noise?
They eat the pudding.
I don't know, but take that out there. Go eat your crumbs out there, Bubba. You know, can we straddle? You know, in church, religion, they tell us we can't be of this world. We have to deny our humanity. I came up with this yesterday, and I agree. We don't need to be of this world, but it's not realistic to not be, leave that bike alone, to not be in this world. So the key is to be in this world, not of this world. The key is to straddle the line. The key is to be connected to your spiritual self, but also to be connected in the physical world. So you can walk the line. Yeah, my fingers fucked off. Don't pay attention to that. Just know it's walking. You need to be able to walk the line and straddle both sides. Can I entertain you and educate you at the same time? Can I entertain you and grow you at the same time? Can I give you something beautiful to look at and something to make you reflect? That's what Lonnie Taylor Art is about. That's what the merch is about. Sister support. I got you, sis, really. I didn't just say that because I thought it was cool. I said it because I got you, sis, really. Ain't this the shit I say? And I mean it. And you should get one for all your sisters. I did pink, blue, red, and black for all y'all. That's beautiful, Carby. He's innocent. That boy just be acting the fool. Leave that bike alone. It's if you break it, it's broken. So please leave it alone, okay?
Is Daddy there?
Well, it's a computer. And so if you break any parts of the computer, then Daddy can't use it. So please leave it alone, okay?
And you need to tell.
I don't know. He'll need to get it fixed, but it's not under warranty anymore, so we would have to pay for that. So leave the bike alone.
He the baby that bike?
Yes, you see, I have to explain the why, because maybe just saying stop it isn't enough for him. So now I gotta explain, well, all these different things, and one of these may connect to finally click into him to leave the damn bike alone. I've taken Wi-Fi when they was slipping in school. I took phones when it got a little too much. They gotta miss me and my food. You take what they value, you take it, but you don't take it in a way. I don't want to say punishment anymore. Consequence is nicer. I'm leaning towards corrective action. These are the corrective actions that are necessary, and you sit down and you have a conversation. That way, when it happens, like, hey, you agreed for this. You are on board. You know, it's not you, the parent, the big punisher coming through. No, your child told you what the punishment should be. And so, yo, stop. Please go. You're making noise in the background and I don't like it. Leave Daddy's shoes. No, they're not regular shoes. You're not supposed to walk on the ground with those. No, I don't want to have a discussion anymore. Take the shoes off and please go. That is the opposite direction of going. Go that way. Mommy's almost finished. 20 more minutes. Go. It matters though, because kids will resent one parent for allowing another parent's actions. Yeah, you have to be in compliance. You have to be in cooperation. I don't know how that works, but yeah, you got to work together. Leave. Bye. Now. Gotta leave them impressions. I definitely miss my aunt and her food. She made me laugh. See? You know, we have to decide, are we going to give people something to miss? At the end of the day, are you going to give your children something to miss? You decide. My kids are very protective of me. I notice when their father is on my nerves, they get cold with him. Teach him not to do that. I mean, it feels good to your ego, but try to teach them that just because someone's not moving how you want them to move, you don't get to throw energy towards them. Teach them to control their energy and to not, change how they respond. Because first of all, their father is doing something to you, which I say this in love, it's none of their business. So now you are allowing a space for them to determine, and you do what you want to. This is just a teaching point. This is a teaching point. This ain't got nothing to do with your household. You do what you want to. But it started from your comment. When you allow your children, because what happened when me and my sister fell out, my nieces started treating me funny. I fell out with your mama. Why are you treating me funny? When me and my sister fell out, her children started treating my children funny. Why you got a problem with my kids? My kids ain't even did nothing. They sit in the car. Reverse, when me and my sister fell out, my children still, Auntie! When me and my sister fell out, my children towards her children, Bailey sending me text messages like, I want to go visit Grambling with Jasmine, for homecoming. What do you think? So my children are taught my issues aren't your issues. You don't treat someone differently just because I have issues with someone. And I understand loyalty and allegiance. I understand that. But we also have to look at, it's a fine line, because people think I'm disloyal all the time because my cousin got a divorce from her wife and she was like, I don't appreciate how you're still friends with her. And I was like, well, she ain't did nothing to me. I mean, if you tell me you want me to stop being her friend, then okay, but I'll do it because you told me, not because I believe I need to disassociate with someone just because y'all couldn't get along. But I out of respect for you, I will stop talking to her. But for you to be mad at me because it was not innate in me to be like, oh, they're divorced, boop. Especially when this is the cousin whose father raised us, whose father is not our bloodline. My aunt and her dad got a divorce, but Uncle Stanley is Uncle Stanley to this day. So I just applied that same logic to when my cousin got a divorce. Her ex-wife is still T. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with T. I don't know the inner workings of your relationship. I don't know why stuff didn't work out. All I know is T is still T and your daddy's still your daddy. But if you feel I should respond this way, I will. I get it. So I understand the whole loyalty thing. But when we teach our kids to carry our, oh, we got a problem? Then we got a problem. Like that whole, yo, so-and-so's talking stuff. I need you to go fight their kid. Why? Why are kids fighting adult battles? That's stupid. I get it. It's funny, but it's stupid. And then we're raising our kids and then they go and they're throwing energy at people because you upset me, or they're throwing energy at people because my friend's offended, or you're throwing energy at people and you're just getting yourself wrapped up into stuff you don't need to be wrapped up in energetically. And they're also learning to throw their energy around. And I just had to break Bailey of that because I taught her how to throw her energy around. So I had to point out to her, you're throwing your energy around. You're throwing your energy around. Somebody makes you mad and you shut down your energy. or now you're throwing attitude around. No, somebody upsets you and you're like, okay, that upset me. My upset today looks just like this. Like when Angel made me upset yesterday, I was like, that really pissed me off. It wasn't like this mother. It wasn't any of that. I was like, this is what my upset looks like now. I can express my upsetness without cussing. I can express my upsetness without shifting my energy. I can express my upsetness without changing anything about myself except for expressing myself that I'm upset. And this is what you did to upset me. Now, the next work that I need to do, which is pointed out to me, is providing understanding and getting their perspective. I'm allowed to be upset, but I also need to get their perspective in that. So just pay attention to that. I love how your girls have your back. I love that. I love that allegiance. But also pay attention to what character or traits that they can potentially carry on into life as adults. And just because you made my friend mad, now I'm going to treat you bad. No, I don't think that's healthy for them. You know what I'm saying? It makes me feel good. It makes me feel good to see my kids have my back. Yeah, fuck that nigga. No, it makes me feel good. But that's not setting my kids up for success. Mind your fucking business. What we got going on ain't got nothing to do with you. That's your daddy. Always show him respect. Unless he disrespects you, then we got something going there. But us having adult conflicts that you don't even understand, why are you giving that energy? You know what I'm saying? I tell them it's not right, and I try to minimize those moments. You're so beautiful. He's adorable. Did he say don't die with dada? No, he says somebody's gonna die, though. Him and Michael always talking about death. It's that goddamn YouTube. Wait a second. Did he say don't die with dada because he might off y'all? Look, I'm going to tell you what. I don't talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it now. We definitely went through a phase where I locked my door. Everybody locked their door because they were afraid of Angel. And it's not that Angel did anything. Angel just had that energy that she might find a gun or a knife and catch one of us in our sleep. That was the energy. That was the energy we were all living in. We still live in the energy that we know that Angel don't really fuck with us. And we're trying to work on it. We're trying to heal it. But, yeah. And I hope you don't feel any kind of way, Carby. I wasn't talking about you. That was a teaching point that was brought on by a scenario that you brought out. Just like I teach from my life. I literally said my kid, we were afraid she's going to kill us. I made sure all the guns were locked up because whenever she goes in my closet, I'm like, what you doing in my closet? I'm listening for my purse to unzip. I'm listening for all these things because she was given some homicidal energy. And I could be honest. I haven't said it, but yeah, there was definitely a phase where I was afraid that she was going. So all that is using your life as a classroom, and I hope you don't mind. And I love how the next sentence was like, boom, I'm trying to correct it. You on your shit. That's why I love you. You watching Snapped Around Them Babies. No, she just was trapped in that. I'm saying. All I'm saying is every person that has gone up and did something to others, they gave warning signs and the parents knew. The parents didn't know they was going to do that shit. But the parents knew. If Angel were to have done something, Angel is in a better space now. And she said that the whole, societal space that she was in was just not a mask, but, a personality that she was trying on. And I was like, yeah, all you kids who become that way and all these people who become that way, it's a persona, more kids than adults, but it's, I'm going to be this troubled individual. It's all you trying on a persona. Not all of them, but, there's some clinical stuff going on. But the vast majority of them is just a cry for attention. But I told Angel, and I said this in a previous live, I was like, the thing is, though you weren't truly suicidal, you would have pushed that as far as you would have pushed it. And there's some kids who push it, and they push it too far. So we can't discount the fact that, yes, you were just trying on a persona. Because in trying on the persona, now you're going to start acting in that persona. And while you're acting in that persona, what do kids who are suicidal do? They attempt. And it's how deep into that persona are you? And Angel was only in the, write a letter and let my teacher find it so that my teacher can contact my family. So I want to say she wrote the letter, and I think she gave it to her teacher. I don't know. I think I read in the email that Angel gave me these letters or something like that. So she let it be known, but she was writing letters, about how she hated her family and they make her wanna herself. And so we started doing the work. And I know that the work that we're doing right now is to have saved her life. And now it's to pull her out, and it's to, help you all and to help. So all the work that we're doing was brought on. I can attribute it to Bailey telling me I need to change the way that I raise these kids. I could attribute it to Angel being in her suicidal space where she's talking about, and she may take us with her. You know what I'm saying? We're in this space because I don't know Michael. Michael hasn't really triggered anything. Michael's just an asshole, so we got to pull him up out of that. He's just, man, Michael is me, and like the cocky arrogance that Dre and I have is into Michael. Caden walking out of here that day in February arguing with his siblings. 3 of my 4 children definitely triggered this whole platform. Because we started out as a cute little family moment. Pay attention to the moments and don't take them for granted. That's how we started out. But that's not what we are today. That had me taking the bright light. That had me taking the you watching. Oh, ha, 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 ha. Right now, they ain't saying nothing. Now, my kids always talk about death. Michael and Caden. Death, 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 death. Die, 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 die. YouTube. We try to delete it off of the TV. I'm not really good with, I know this is an excuse, but I'm not really good with parental controls. But we are a morbid family, innately. I told Coco I watch true crime all the time, and when I was going to Jamaica, Bailey was like, but what if you die in Jamaica? Bitch, shut up. I'm trying to move away from that, but death is around the corner. And we're aware, but we don't have to talk about it all the time. So yeah, my family is weird. We don't talk about it. It ain't like we sit around and talk about death, but we're aware that I have had conversations with my kids. Angel doesn't want to have the conversation, but I've definitely had the conversation with Bailey. I'm like, how are you prepared for my death? You need to start preparing yourself for my death in my life so that when I die, it ain't such a shock. Everybody who has a real relationship with somebody, but definitely with their mama, like when mama dies, it tears them up. I want my kids to feel a loss when I die, but I don't want them to be stuck. You know what I'm saying? I want my kids to know that I have passed over, and if you was close to me before, God damn it, in spirit, you really got me. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe in that. I believe in spirit. I do my ancestral work. Why? Because I know I'm communing. My mom is right here. I know. Derek is right with Dre. I know that to be true, and who's going to tell me it ain't true? How you going to prove to me it ain't true? It's true. So I talk to my kids about those things because mom's going to die one day, and Lord willing, I die before them. And are you ready to handle it? Are you preparing yourself to handle that? Because it can happen. I could be sitting right now and just go, it can happen. So we in our community don't talk about it. We in our community don't get life insurance because as soon as somebody brings up life insurance, like, you trying to kill me, you think, no. I had that conversation with Dre when I was like, you need to get life insurance. Why? You think I'm going to die? No, but when you do die, nigga, you're the primary breadwinner. We need something to tide us over till I get a job. You know what I'm saying? And so we don't even deal with those things. We don't talk about what we want our after death, I don't know what it's called, our after death plan to be. Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? Our families are now fighting over us because we don't put any of that stuff in place, and we take it for granted because we're like, well, I'm going to die when I'm old, so I'll deal with it when I'm older. But what if you go tomorrow? Do people know what you want? I don't want nobody arguing over me. I tell my family all the time, burn my ass up and go dump me under a tree. That way you can kick it with me whenever you want to. I did not value after death. My sister has my mom's ashes. And I'm sorry if I sound insensitive. I'm insensitive as fuck, but I'm logical. I don't think with emotion. I think with logic. So I'm sorry if I'm being insensitive. I don't mean to be. But my sister has my mom's ashes, and I didn't want them until now. Now that I'm doing my altar work and my ancestral work, I understand how powerful. To have that woman's ashes, I want them. I just want half. She ain't got to give them all to me. I just want half, and she ain't giving them to me. Fuck her. But anyway, yeah. I don't know if I've forgiven her. Like, what she did does not upset me the way that it used to upset me. But in my boundaries, occur. You know what I'm saying? Until the day one of us leaves this earth. She's dead to me, regardless. But she can give me them ashes. That's the only thing she got that I want from her. And that's the only thing I could choose to start manipulating and playing the game so I could get those from her. But I'm not going to. I already put it into the universe. One day I'm going to get them ashes. I already told my team, go get me them ashes. So I'm just waiting for them to come. They coming. And y'all going to hear me one day, I got them ashes. I'm going to tell my daddy to get me them ashes. I bet you he could get them ashes for me. I'm going to tell him. Y'all see how I'm 42 and still got a daddy? And my dad didn't even do nothing to earn that title. But we want to have fathers. We want to have daddies. We want to have mothers. We want to have mamas. We want those relationships. So please give them to your children. And it doesn't matter how old they are, because I'm 42 and I still got a daddy. And if it was possible, I would seek relationship with my mother if she would allow it. And so, let me get through these. I thought everyone at the funeral, it was welcome to the repast. Oh, with your father? I remember. No one set me down beforehand and said, this man's presence is not welcome in the home because blah, blah. No one set you down before and said, that's your daddy's going to be there. Or kind of whisper and say, hey, that's your father. No one told you. You had to look at this man and say, why am I looking at my own face? Like, that was foul, Carby. I ain't going to judge, but they left you out there and then punished you for moving how you chose to move. Like, you want to know your dad. Like, why is that wrong? Why is that a punishable offense? Adults just be wilding for no reason. Before that funeral, I thought my father was no longer living. Damn, you thought daddy was gone. And daddy was right up the street. So you were forced to grow up with the void because the adults couldn't get their lives together. That's so much to unpack. I'm going to leave that alone, but that's a lot. That's a lot. Just like I thought my mom abandoned me. I thought my mother abandoned me, and I hated her for that. Me and my mom probably could have had a relationship if someone would have just set me down and said, hey, this is what happened. That's good. God starts somewhere, yes. Hey, Trini Trin, I am listening. Thank you for sharing the live. Some babies don't even do all of that. But yeah, true. Be right back. All right. I think we're done with the comment. Oh, nope. I clicked past the real baby comments. Oh, and Von Treese entered the chat. Hold up. I'm trying to catch up. Hold on. We're done for the day for the last 2 minutes. So I'm just going to read all the comments to make sure I addressed everything. Some babies don't even, but yeah, true. Be right back. Yes, Fawn Trees has entered the chat with. I like when people leave the little apples. I think those are cute. That might be a thing. I like the apples. Yo, I'm gonna tell you divinity. When I was a kid, I always said, when I grow up and I'm able to get a tattoo, I'm gonna get an apple with a bite bitten out and caramel dripping down on my thigh. When I turned 18, I got an apple tattooed on my leg with a bite taken out and caramel dripping down. Don't ask me why, but the fact that I married a man and my last name is Appleton now, and I have an apple on my leg, I was just like, meant to be. Was cute, friend. Yes, I love it. Work says you can get on the way you are because you are beautiful. Thank you. I had to learn. You know, a lot of work. You know, because this is the pretty girl lie that I came to, and I'm not saying anything about anybody else. But I always was led to believe that I was ugly because my value of myself and my attractiveness was in the attention of the gender that I was attracted to, which was males. Bree told me to be more inclusive with my language, and I'm going cognizantly to be. But I speak from my perspective. But I try to be inclusive in my language. But anyway, my value of self was in the attention of males. And I knew this was a thing when Angel came to me and she said she thinks she's ugly. And I was like, why do you think you're ugly? Because boys don't pay me attention. But they pay attention to the other girls. And I was like, well, that's the pretty girl lie because you're beautiful. And I bet you the girls that they're paying attention to don't look nothing like you. And so guys don't go after the pretty girls. And if guys went after you and you're like, are you saying I'm ugly? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'm not ugly, but I believe that I was. And I'm not the only person who knows they're not ugly, but believe that they were because guys ignored them. And there's something there, but we ain't gonna get into it. I'm far from perfect. None of us are perfect, sis. Let's run these likes up. Tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap. And this is why Von Treese is my moderator unofficially. Because Von Treese knows how to play the game. And I love you to death. Yes. I love all of y'all. Yo, Carby's out there doing the damn thing. Thank you for celebrating her, Barbara, the real baby. Thank you for celebrating each other and giving each other your flowers. Because we are all making strides, and the fact that we tell each other about it, fucking, yes, big up me. Blow my fucking head up, because when you gas me up, I continue. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, gas me up. I'm gonna gas you up, and we gonna gas each other up. People say that's a negative. Oh, you blowing their head up. Blow their fucking head up. Why? Because then they start believing in themselves. I will gas these little boys up. I will gas my daughters up. I will gas, okay. Just checked myself. But I already checked myself earlier with not critiquing my daughter's writing anymore. But you checked me again. Okay. Do the first home buyer workshop will help with all of that. Okay, I will do it. First home buyer program. Where's my notes? First home buyer program. I will do that because what I won't do is be here again. I will never be here again. And I admit that I am a causality of the space that I'm in. We were fiscally and financially irresponsible, and that's why we're here. I admit that, but I won't be here again. I won't. But that's why I'm doing all of these things now, is I'm building legacy. Oh, the Gothic period. Invite sent. Oh, I didn't mean to invite you. Sorry. Hopefully. Well, I'm about to get off here anyway. So, yes. Thank you guys. Thank you for everything. It was all love, all real. And I thank you all for your participation and joining and having such an amazing conversation in the chat. If you haven't followed each other, follow each other and just help build this community. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Barbara, you came through from the start to the end. You the real MVP. Yes, thank you. I love you, sis. I love all of you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I got to keep talking till this thing actually goes off, so I'm not just sitting here looking stupid.